Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto has Senju blood part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Hiruzen Sarutobi was the longest running Hokage Konoha has ever had. He was trained by the Shodame and Nidaime Hokages to take the mantle of Hokage after them. In his prime he was hailed as the Kami no Shinobi for his mastery of every shinobi discipline. His mere presence on the battlefield could cause opposing forces to retreat. The Sandaime was looking through the window behind his desk to overlook the village he loved so much and all the people he swore he would die to protect. Throughout his life he has had many regrets, not killing Orochimaru, not being able to stop Tsunade from leaving the village, and not being able to help his successor with the Kyuubi. Too many failures for someone hailed with unrivaled abilities. Hiruzen's thoughts drifted to the little blonde-haired boy Naruto, the fourth Hokage's son and Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. The kid didn't have a negative emotion in him. He was a little ball of happiness. Deciding that visiting Naruto would be a fun way to get out of paperwork, he got up and left the office. After all, anything that could get him out of the stuffy office would be worth it. Naruto's apartment. Naruto was impatiently waiting for his ramen to finish cooking. It was one of the hardest things the blonde has ever had to do on a consistent basis. Young Naruto was given his own apartment last month right after his 6th birthday. He did mostly everything on his own, but A and B would occasionally come by to check on him and drop off groceries when he wasn't home. Naruto heard a knock on his door and perked up slightly. Surprised that someone would want to visit him, he opened the door. Old man. The Sandaime was the closest thing to a grandfather he has and one of the only people who was nice to him. The Sandaime let out a chuckle. Good to see you, Naruto-kun. How have you been? Naruto frowned. Well, this is the 3rd cup of ramen I have tried to cook today, so I would say pretty bad. He was quite upset that his precious ramen keeps dying. If only he could resurrect the cups of ramen, but his abilities don't cover miracles. Hiruzen let out a bark of laughter. Leave it to Naruto to only feel sad that his ramen kept burning. How about I take you to a ramen stand that is one of my favorites? Naruto's face shot up in genuine happiness. The old man would take him out for ramen. This could possibly be the best day of his life. The old man spotted something to his right. The plant in the window started to look healthier, all of a sudden more vibrant even. Uchiha compound. Sasuke Uchiha was eating a tomato with a smile on his face. His brother was going to start showing him shuriken jutsu today and he couldn't wait. With all of the ANBU work his brother had been doing recently, they haven't had much time to do things together. It was hard on Sasuke as their father's expectations were based on his brother's accomplishments, and Sasuke didn't think he could live up to his genius older brother. Itachi walked into the compound with a purpose. He was given the invite into ANBU a few months ago, and was now being looked at for a captain position. It was an incredible honor to be invited into ANBU at the young age he was, but to be looked at for a captain position already. He was the talk of the village. Getting to his home, his mother was apparently out getting food and his father is still at the military police headquarters working, so it was just his brother waiting patiently. Hello Sasuke-kun, I'm really hungry, how about we get some lunch before we train? Itachi had been training for several hours today and really wanted some food, and it just so happened that Shursui showed him this really good ramen place last week. Sure, let's go, shouted Sasuke. He didn't really care, he was spending time with his brother. Ichiraku Ramen. The Hokage and Naruto arrived to the ramen stand and quickly ordered some food. The owner is a nice old man named Tuchi, and his daughter Ayam was his assistant cook. They were really nice and invited Naruto to come back whenever he wanted to, much to the blonde's joy. 2 people entered the stand and sat next to them. They were both Uchiha if the symbol on their shirts were anything to go by. Itachi immediately bowed to the Hokage. Good to see you, Hokage-sama. This is my little brother Sasuke. Sasuke bowed respectfully like his mother taught him to. He was slightly intimidated by being in front of the village leader and strongest shinobi, but with his brother here he was slightly more calm. The Hokage nodded in greeting. Hello Itachi-kun and hello Sasuke-kun, this is my little friend Naruto-kun. The little bond waved his hand with ramen coming out of his mouth. Not caring in the slightest about manners with ramen this good in his mouth, Naruto finished his bowl and looked at Sasuke. So are you going to be joining the academy this year? Sasuke glanced at the blonde in surprise. Yes, how did you know? He's never seen this kid in his life, how'd he know he was going to the academy? Naruto shrugged. We look the same age and your brother has a headband. Sasuke then decided to boast about his brother. Yeah, my Ni-san's the best. He's already an ANBU and he's going to show me shuriken jutsu today. Itachi just shook his head. His brother loves to brag. Really? That is so cool. Naruto really wanted an older brother to show him stuff, but he tried to hide his sadness at his loneliness. The Sandaime looked at Naruto sadly, knowing what Naruto was thinking. It was apparent that the blonde was incredibly lonely. Unfortunately, he did all he could to help him with the time he had. Itachi thinking the same thing. Why don't you come along, Naruto-kun? Sasuke-kun could use a training partner, suggested Itachi. He remembered the red-headed lady that was pregnant and was best friends with his mother. He knew who Naruto's parents were, so he thought that the Kushina-san would like it if he helped Naruto out. Sasuke's eyes shot to his brother. Ni-san, are you sure? He didn't want to share his brother, especially with someone he just met. Itachi just nodded. Yes, training by yourself is fine, but everyone needs a partner. Naruto looks like he will be a good training partner, assured Itachi with a smile. Naruto's face lit up again just like before. The Hokage noticed that and looked outside across the road at a tree that looked like it was shaking. Really, Itachi, that would be awesome. I won't slow you two down, I promise, shouted Naruto with a salute. This was his chance to make a friend. The Hokage took his eyes off the tree to look at Itachi seriously. Thank you for helping him, Itachi-kun. Itachi bowed his head and paid for his and Sasuke's meal, then waved for Naruto to follow him. Naruto hugged the old man before following the two Uchiha out of the ramen stand. He could barely contain the excitement at the opportunity, both for training and for potential friendship. When they were gone, the Hokage looked down and thought, I'm not sure, but if it is what I think it is, then Naruto has something the village hasn't seen in nearly 60 years. I will need to contact Tenzo to see if Naruto is compatible. The question is how. Uchiha Training Ground. The Uchiha training grounds were quite large, mostly open fields with the Naka River running through each of them. Itachi was bringing Sasuke and Naruto to learn some basic shuriken jutsu and maybe activate their chakras. He didn't know where the day will go. Naruto and Sasuke were talking the whole way about how they would be better than each other. Sasuke was sure he would activate his chakra first, and Naruto said that he would first. Sasuke knew he would be better at shuriken jutsu, and Naruto said that he's better than Sasuke at everything. Both were arguing, and Itachi decided to clear his throat to get their attention. Okay, you two, we'll be practicing your accuracy, and we might open your chakra towards the end, instructed Itachi. He was amused at their attentiveness. Both of the future academy students looked quite focused. Itachi went through the basic motions of tossing shuriken, how they should stand and how their wrists should move, everything. Itachi gave both of them some shuriken to try themselves and directed them to a tree to aim at. Naruto and Sasuke let all of their shuriken go at the tree at the same time. Both of them were terrible as expected. None of the shuriken stayed in the tree, and most of them missed. Naruto and Sasuke dropped their heads in disappointment. They didn't think that they would be that bad. It was embarrassing after all that boasting. If Itachi was a lesser man, he would be laughing. But he's Itachi Uchiha, and Itachi Uchiha didn't laugh. But the twitch of his lips is a sign of his struggle. That was expected of your first try. Don't stop, keep practicing. That's how the afternoon went for the most part. Both Naruto and Sasuke would continue trying to hit the tree with shuriken. Itachi later decided that accessing their chakra would be a good way to end the day. He interrupted both of them, causing all the shuriken to miss, making them glare at him. Well, it's getting late. I think we should end the day with accessing both of your chakras. Both Naruto and Sasuke got determined fire in their eyes. Both looked to each other with determination. I bet I can beat you and open mine first, Sasuke. Sasuke, not one to be beaten, challenged right back. No way. I'm going to be first. Naruto and Sasuke start arguing back and forth. Then both of them started to beat on their stomachs and yell release over and over again. Itachi blinked a few times, then sweat dropped, clearing his throat, getting their attention. How is it you two think you access your chakra? Questioned Itachi. Both of the 6-year-olds looked at him confused. I thought you had to beat it out, Naruto said, and Sasuke nodded with Naruto's idea. Itachi just face-palmed. No. You need to use the ram sign and concentrate deep inside and find your chakra, then pull it out. Itachi went on to further explain the process, and the two listened with extremely focused expressions. Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other. They sit on the ground and used the hand seal Itachi showed them, then concentrated. Sasuke seemed to find it first. Itachi was surprised at the amount. It's close to genin in size already. That was unheard of for a 6-year-old. Naruto was concentrating as hard as he can. He found the pull, but when he grabbed it to pull it out, pain erupted in his skull. He could feel everything around him, and he couldn't take it so suddenly. The trees were pulsing and he could feel the wind flow through the forests. The chakra presence of everyone in the village was well within his sensing range. Itachi and Sasuke were watching with wide eyes full of worry. Naruto was grabbing his head in pain and his chakra was fluctuating wildly. Naruto was trying to make the pain stop, but it wouldn't. It was getting worse with the more chakra that came out. After a few moments, several Anbu and the Sandaime Hokage arrive after feeling the chakra all the way from the Hokage's office. Hiruzen rushed over to Naruto to see if he was okay. Itachi, what happened? Barked Hiruzen. Heads were going to roll if this was done maliciously. Itachi froze. He couldn't move but managed to point to the ground around Naruto. Nobody noticed it until Itachi pointed it out. Surrounding Naruto were several small sprouts of little trees. The Anbu around Naruto were severely shocked. The Anbu with the Inu mask and gravity-defying silver hair walked up to the little trees. Touching one of them, he felt the chakra running through it. They were pulsing with chakra and he felt like they were living entities with how much chakra was flowing through them. Naruto finally passed out from the pain and chakra exhaustion. Hiruzen looked around and made sure to eye everyone seriously. Not a word of this, any of you, till I find out for sure what this is for sure. Nobody did anything other than nod. They wanted no part of the Sandaime's wrath if they could help it. Sasuke was worried for his new friend. 1 second he was fine, the next he was screaming in pain. Is he going to be alright? Sasuke asked shyly. The Hokage looked really serious and he was kinda scared. The Hokage's eyes softened at the scared little kid whose friend was just writhing in pain after something that should have been fun. I'm sure he will be alright, Sasuke-kun. We have to get him to the hospital to run some tests, but I believe I know what it is. Hiruzen didn't want to say until he is absolutely sure about it. But he was 99% sure that the village just got its second Mokuton user. Konoha Hospital. The Hokage didn't go to the front desk and demand a doctor, no, he ran to the second floor and went to his most trusted doctor. She is the only person he trusted with Naruto's healthcare. Rei Hanako was a Mednin who served in the Third Shinobi War as a Chunin until she dedicated all of her time to healing. She was enjoying her afternoon tea when her door burst open and her Hokage came in with an unconscious blonde in his arms. Fearing the worst, she ran over with glowing palms and checked the little blonde over. After a minute of searching, she looked up with a flown. Hokage-sama, he only has chakra exhaustion, nothing too serious, he should be fine in a few days. Muttered Rei, wondering why the Hokage would overreact over something that he should know about. It was good to hear Naruto would be fine, but he already knew that. I know that, but I want you to run some tests on Naruto-kun, as well as his mother. Rei's eyes widened. What the hell was going on? What kind of tests do you need me to run, Hokage-sama? She was certainly confused. She knew Kushina and knew that Naruto was her son. Hell, he was like a clone of Minato. Hiruzen's face became serious. Compare their blood to Hashirama Senju. Naruto-kun here activated his chakra today. Something happened, and I want to confirm if it is just a mutation or a Kekkai Genkai. Rei understood what he was talking about and looked at Naruto with wonder. He might have the Shodan Hokage's Kekkai Genkai? Okay, Hokage-sama. I will set up a room and perform the necessary tests for Naruto-kun and contact you when I'm done. The Hokage nodded while setting Naruto down on the couch in the office and left to go to his own office. He needed to contact Jiraiya, maybe even her, somewhere in Hi-no-Kuni. For the past 6 years since his student's death, Jiraiya has thrown himself into his work. He wanted to get the thought of his student out of his head and the self-hatred for not being there to help him. He promised Minato that he would look after Naruto, but he could bring himself to stay in the village after what happened. What was worse was the man he considered a son had his face carved into the mountain, and to Jiraiya it was like he was being judged the whole time he was there. A small toad popped next to him with a scroll in its hand. Jiraiya took it, and with a bow the toad left. Reading through the scroll before his eyes went wide and he choked in shock. I need to go back to the village. Sensei might need help dealing with this. The political struggle between the elders and Danzo to get Naruto under their thumb will be a lot for the old man to handle alone. Gathering himself before taking off in a speed that only an S-rank ninja could even hope to have towards the village to see his godson. Maybe this was his chance to make up for lost time. Somewhere else in Hi-no-Kuni, Tsunade and Shizen were walking toward the next town for them to stay at and for Tsunade to gamble and get drunk. Tsunade has been drinking her sorrows away for years since Dan and Iwaki died. Since that day she has been haunted by their deaths. Tsunade was about to tell Shizen they should pick up the pace when a slug popped up in front of her. Surprised that her summons would contact her, she bent down and saw a scroll. Rolling her eyes that someone from that hellhole was contacting her, she opened the scroll and started froze at what the scroll said. She has someone left. She has a piece of her family that was still alive. She looked over to a Shizen. Shizen, we're going to Konoha. There is someone there that we need to meet. Shizen couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her master wanted to go back home on her own volition. Taking the scroll from Tsunade and reading it over, she began to understand. There was a piece of her family that has emerged and Tsunade wasn't going to let them die like the others. Nodding to her master, they ran off toward the village at high speeds. 2 days later, Konoha Hospital, Rei's office. For the past 2 days Rei has been running tests on Naruto's blood and testing it on some of the DNA Hashirama left behind in their records. All ninjas since the Shodan Hokage established the hospital were required to have some blood on file so they can identify someone by their DNA if the body was too far gone. It made it so families would have closure and would know for sure that their loved one was truly gone rather than wondering. Rei found that Kushina had in fact been a descendant of Hashirama Senju somehow. That shocked Rei. Her friend was related to one of if not the most powerful shinobi in history. Naruto's blood, however, was a match for Hashirama, but there was something in both of their DNA that was similar to each other. This allowed them to unlock their Kekkai Genkai. It was like the two of them were connected in a way different from just being family, almost to the level of the soul perhaps. She left to go notify the Hokage's office. Hiruzen was hoping that Jiraiya would make it back before the tests were done on Naruto. He was sad that Tsunade didn't even send a message back to him. He was hoping that a real family member would make Tsunade get out of her self-imposed exile. But she never even replied, so maybe she was truly too far gone. Rei knocked on the Hokage's office door and entered when the Hokage called out to her. She bowed before the Hokage respectfully. Hokage-sama, the tests are done, and the window behind the Hokage opened and the Toad Sage let himself in with an easy grin on his face. Sorry for interrupting, but someone is on her way and we should get ready. Jiraiya's face became serious. He felt Tsunade coming to the village and hoped that something bad hasn't happened for her to need to rush home. Hiruzen's eyes widened for a second, so she didn't reply because she was coming herself. She is? Well, that would be because I sent her the same message that I sent to you, hoping that she would come home to the last remnants of her family. said the Sandaime before taking out his pipe to begin to soothe his nerves. Jiraiya's face became hopeful. He has been trying to get Tsunade to come home for years. Well, she should be here any minute. Feeling the chakra of a certain Senju, they waited for her to enter the office. Tsunade was surprised that she wasn't stopped more on the way to the Hokage's office. She guessed that everyone either knew who she was or that they didn't want to get in her way. She didn't exactly have the most inviting aura right now. Entering the office to see a doctor, her teammate and sensei looking at her, and a huffing Shizen behind her. Tsunade was going at a very fast pace since she received the message, and Shizen wasn't at the same stamina level of her master, so her lungs were currently lecturing her about her cardio neglect. Okay, what is this I hear about Naruto Uzumaki being related to Aji-san and awakening his Kekkai Genkai? And where is he? Asked Tsunade. She wasn't going to be placated until she was answered, so her expression stayed serious as she glared at the occupants of the office. Yes, well, thank you for coming, Tsunade-chan, Shizen-chan. I was about to hear from Rei here the results of the tests she has been running for the past few days that Naruto has been unconscious, said Hiruzen. He took several puffs of his pipe as he looked over his office, and the waves of nostalgia hit him hard. How many years had it been since so many members of Team Hiruzen were in the same room? Tsunade was thinking that nobody else would be doing tests on Naruto while she was here. Who knows what they were really doing? Likely trying to harvest his genes to build some super wood using army. It wouldn't be the first time, she thought humorlessly. That was another reason she stayed away from the village, after learning of the tests they were doing on Senju DNA, like it wasn't from a person but a test subject. Well, what are the results? Asked Tsunade, almost fearing the results. Rei cleared her throat. I tested the blood of his mother Kushina Uzumaki and his own with Hashirama Senju. It appears that Kushina was a direct descendant of Hashirama-sama and Mito-sama. Naruto shares something with Hashirama-sama other than blood, being that they both have awakened the Kekkai Genkai Mokuton. She didn't bother telling them about the other connection since she couldn't really tell what it was, and they had enough facts on their plates than some crackpot theory that would only complicate things further. Tsunade was completely shocked. She has just found out that she had a nephew that has awakened her grandfather's Kekkai Genkai. She looked to her sensei with pleading eyes. Where is he? She all but demanded. He's in the hospital. I think awakening his Kekkai Genkai was too much for the little guy to handle and exhausted all of his chakra when he activated it for the first time. Rei reported. Hiruzen nodded. How about we go and visit him then? Tsunade, what do you plan on doing with him while you're here? He was curious of his student's intentions with his surrogate grandson. Tsunade looked back from the doorway at her sensei. I will make sure that I won't lose another one. I'll make sure this time. Let's go, Shizen. She and Shizen left to head towards the hospital with purpose. They were going to add one more to their little family. The Hokage got up from his seat to go to Naruto's room. This certainly is an interesting development. I hope she will stay because Naruto can't leave the village. Jiraiya just nodded and followed his sensei out. He too hoped for that. That way he knew that Naruto would be taken care of, and he could rest easier while on his missions. Naruto's hospital room. Naruto's eyes opened slowly. He had a killer headache and was confused about where he was. The last thing he remembered was training with Sasuke and Itachi, then trying to activate his chakra. Looking around the room, he was about to get up and leave when the door opened. Tsunade took a breath and entered the room, expecting to see an unconscious little blonde boy. Only to see big curious blue eyes staring at her curiously. She had to fight off the urge to squeal at how cute he looked. She walked over to him calmly and sat down in a chair by the bed. Hello, Naruto-kun, my name is Tsunade Senju. Naruto's eyes widened comically. Gigi has told him about his team. She's one of the old man's students. You're one of the old man's students. Naruto exclaimed in childish awe. She was someone from the stories the old man would tell him. It was like meeting a superhero. Tsunade started chuckling at the little bond. Yes, I am Naruto-kun. I am also someone close to you. Naruto's eyes widened once again. She has blonde hair like him, she could be his mother. But he didn't say anything that would wake him up from the dream he was no doubt having. You are my nephew and a Senju like me. I have been wanting to meet you. Naruto was slightly upset that she wasn't his mother, but was still happy that he has someone that is really his family. Not to mention that he was apparently a member of one of the most powerful and renowned clans in the elemental nations. The old man told him plenty about the Senju, and about his legendary senseis. Suddenly the door opened again, breaking Naruto from his thoughts, and walked the old man, and another old man with long spiky white hair that was like a lion's mane. How are you feeling, Naruto-kun? You gave everyone quite the scare. Asked Hiruzen. Naruto looked embarrassed that he made people worry. He didn't want that, he wanted people to be happy, not worry. Sorry, but Tsunade here said that I'm her nephew, is that true? Naruto asked while he looked at the old man. When he saw the old man smile and nod, Naruto launched himself at Tsunade in a hug, inadvertently smothering himself between Tsunade's enormous. Jiraiya was already incredibly proud and jealous of Naruto. He did something that Jiraiya has been fantasizing about since his 20s. Lucky blonde just like his father. Tsunade was surprised that the little blonde launched himself at her, but after getting over her shock she wrapped her arms around Naruto and held him close. Naruto was happier than he ever has been before. He has a real family, something he has dreamt about for as long as he can remember. He pushed away his tears that were about to fall. He promised himself a long time ago that he would never cry again, and he wouldn't break that for something that was good. Hiruzen had a smile on his face seeing the little bond that he loved like a grandson finally have someone in his life that would care for him like he wished he could. Naruto let go of the hug, whipped his eyes and looked at Tsunade with a big smile. So does this mean I can stay with you? He hated living alone, it's too quiet for him, and the unbearable loneliness was taking a toll on the blonde. Tsunade looked at Naruto for a few seconds thinking about that. She doubted that she would be able to take Naruto with her and Shizen on the road. So that would mean that she would have to stay in the village, something she really didn't want to do. But she would die before she left him alone to possibly die like her brother and fiancé. Or worse, be treated like a living weapon constantly being experimented on. Yes, Naruto-chan. You can move into our family compound with me, said a smiling Tsunade. She smirked slightly at the surprised expressions of the other people in the room. Naruto blushed at the nickname but didn't say anything about it, only smiling wider. This was hands down the best day of his short life. Shizen, who had been quiet the entire time, decided to introduce herself to the newest addition to her family. Hello Naruto-kun, my name is Shizen, she said pleasantly and lifted Tonton up so that she could see Naruto. Naruto smiled at her then looked around. When can I leave? I want to continue training with Sasuke and Itachi. We were practicing and Tsunade interrupted before he could get going. Oh no you don't, you just suffered chakra exhaustion, at least wait until tomorrow. We'll tell them that they can visit you though. We're going to have to get some things done and later you can get your things and we can get settled at the compound. Naruto looks down at not being able to get to train but nods. The older people all walk out leaving Naruto alone to wait for any visitors, while they went to get the necessary paperwork done for Naruto to be recognized as the new Senju heir. Hokage office. Hiruzen sat down behind the desk. Tsunade and Jiraiya were waiting for the old man to get the paperwork going. This would no doubt take forever. Tsunade, I'm making you Naruto's legal guardian. With you being his clan head as well, nothing the council could try to do would be legal without your official consent. Tsunade and Jiraiya were pleased to hear that. After all, Naruto will be wanted both inside and outside the village for his legendary Kekkei Genkai, one that made a man literally feared worldwide. The Hokage and the Sannin went through many different forms and contracts to change Naruto from Uzumaki to Senju. The bureaucracy of a shinobi village never ceased to be tedious, and the Sandaime reveled in his students' annoyed expressions. They were getting a taste of what he's dealt with for 50 years. Shopping district. Sasuke was shopping with his mother. He has been worried about his friend for the past few days. No matter what his family said, he couldn't get the scene of Naruto writhing in pain after activating his chakra out of his head. And of course the Hokage hasn't said anything regarding Naruto yet. Suddenly an ANBU popped up in front of Sasuke and his mother, making Sasuke jolt in surprise. Mikoto-sama. Hokage-sama wanted to notify you that Naruto has woken up and is allowed to have visitors at the hospital. He wanted to see Sasuke if that was okay. Sasuke looked at his mother with a pleading look. Can we go visit Naruto? I want to see if he can tell me what happened. Mikoto smiled at her little boy and nodded her head. Naruto's hospital room. Naruto was really bored. He wanted to continue training or at least go and visit his first friend. But his Obasan forbid him from leaving his room. Maybe he could sneak out later. It'll have to be at night with the cover of darkness. Naruto looked towards the door when he heard it start to open and saw his friend stick his head in to peek around. Seeing that Naruto was indeed awake, Sasuke walked in with his mother behind him. Hey Naruto, what happened to you the other day? Naruto still didn't actually know what happened himself. I don't really know, but my Obasan came back to the village and said that I will be living in our clan compound from now on, replied Naruto while shrugging. All he knew was that he was fine and he was fine with that. Mikoto's eyes widened. She didn't know Kushina had a sister, let alone one that was alive. Who is your Obasan, Naruto-kun? Questioned the Uchiha matriarch. Tsunade Senju. She said that I'm related to her and a member of the Senju clan, announced Naruto with an ecstatic expression. Mikoto and Sasuke were shocked that the little blonde was related to the slug Sannin and a member of the Senju clan. That was certainly unexpected. Well, Naruto, don't think that you're going to be better than me. You may be a Senju, but I'm an Uchiha and we're the best. Sasuke didn't know why, but he felt compelled to say that. Naruto got a fire in his eyes after hearing that. No way. When Obasan lets me start training again, I will kick your butt and I will totally beat you in the academy when we start. That's how the afternoon went for both of them, Naruto and Sasuke arguing back and forth about who would be better than the other, with a sighing Mikoto listening along the whole time. 2 weeks later, Senju compound, head family house. Naruto was in his new bedroom of his new house. He was getting dressed in his new outfit. It was a gray zip-up short-sleeve shirt with the Senju clan emblem on the back and dark blue pants with the bottoms taped off into his shinobi sandals. It was simple but sharp and Naruto really liked it, even though his Obasan refused to allow him to wear any orange. It was totally a shinobi color. The past 2 weeks were interesting in his opinion. His Obasan made a very strong argument to the elders for them to politely fuck off from her nephew. The Hokage announced to the village that not only did Tsunade return to the village, but that Naruto was now the heir to the Senju clan. Most didn't believe that the Jinchuriki was a Senju until the Hokage gave proof, and now everyone was starting to love the fact that one of the founding clans has a new heir, and that it hopefully wouldn't die out. The Hyuga and the Uchiha were the most upset. The Hyugas were upset because now there was a third clan that could rival them in power and prestige. The Uchiha were mad because their rivals were making a comeback and they liked not having to deal with the hard-headed Senju. Especially with clan-village relations becoming more and more strained since the Kyuubi attack. If it got any worse, actions were going to be taken. Naruto walked into the kitchen where one of Naruto's favorite people was making breakfast. Shizen had become Naruto's honorary big sister a day after moving in. "Nei-chan, where is Oba-san?" Normally Tsunade was awake already. Shizen looked back from the kitchen. "She's getting ready. Don't worry, she'll take you for your first day at the academy." Naruto smiled happily and started to eat his breakfast. Tsunade was getting dressed. She was wearing the same clothes she usually wore, only having the Senju clan emblem on her green jacket under the kanji for gamble. She was now the head of the clan, not the last surviving member she would have to represent. Today was Naruto's first day at the academy. He has been extremely excited for the past 2 weeks. His training with Sasuke has gotten much more competitive since finding out about his family. Sasuke would get better at Shuriken Jutsu and Naruto would train in it harder. Naruto would be better in Taijutsu and Sasuke would train in it harder. Sasuke's father loved that his second son was pushing himself so hard to be better than the Senju, and Tsunade would just sigh that Naruto would train almost every day. Tsunade walked downstairs to the dining room. "Are you ready for your first day, Naru-chan?" Naruto looked up from his food with a smile and nodded several times. "Of course, Oba-san. I can't wait." He's almost vibrating with excitement. This was another chance to make friends and he was ready. "Well, let's get going, we don't want to be late, right?" Naruto nodded his head and ran to put his plate in the kitchen. He gave his Nei-chan hug and ran out the door, grabbing Tsunade's hand on the way out. Academy entrance. Naruto and Tsunade were walking together to the academy. With the young henge and the matching blonde hair, some could and have confused them as mother and son. Naruto was looking around at all the new students with their families dropping them off. He was ready, he was going to be the best and he was going to have all the friends. Naruto was looking for Sasuke though. After spotting him with his mother and brother he ran over. "Hey Sasuke. You ready?" Sasuke looked over to the familiar voice with a smirk. "Of course I am, I have to be better than you after all," challenged Sasuke with a smirk. While Naruto and Sasuke were arguing back and forth, Itachi looked Naruto over. He must not have been told yet. "I can't wait until he becomes stronger. It will be very interesting to test myself against the fabled Mokuton." He was told by the Hokage not to mention it to anyone till it was made public knowledge. They would most likely wait until Naruto had control over his abilities first, and he was strong enough to defend himself. Naruto and Sasuke were interrupted from arguing when both of them had their ears pulled. "Will you two cut it out? You're going to be late to class. Everyone has already started to go in," Tsunade said while Mikoto was berating her son at the same time. Both of them rubbed their ears and apologized before running inside waving to their families. Classroom 139. Iruka is looking over his first class. This is a class full of most of the clan heirs. Most important are the Senju and Uchiha members. Those are legendary clans who founded the village after all. "No pressure. Welcome to the academy. My name is Iruka Umino and I will be your sensei for the duration of your time here." It has been 2 years since the beginning of the academy. Naruto was now 8 years old. Naruto and Sasuke were back and forth for the top spot in the academy. They trained with each other almost every day, and were steadily pulling ahead of the other students. Naruto was told about his Kekkei Genkai, and that he needed to keep it a secret until he could control it. Which was harder than he thought. It required mastery of Suiton and Doton then to use them simultaneously, not something an 8-year-old could do. Naruto has been training with Tsunade and Shizen for his chakra control. He learned that Hashirama was the greatest medic that ever lived. When Naruto asked his Oba-san if she surpassed him, she said that it would be like comparing Shizen to herself, so no. Naruto took it upon himself to be the one to surpass his ancestor. Since he inherited the Mokuton, he might as well surpass him at everything. Tsunade loved that Naruto wanted to be a medic and was giving him chakra control training and books to read, so when he was ready she could start the medical ninjutsu training. Naruto also started to read the forest-style taijutsu scroll. It was written by Hashirama to use in conjunction with the forest he was in or one he created. So Naruto thought it was appropriate to learn since he was the only one who could make a forest in any location. Apparently Tsunade wasn't the first one to use chakra-enhanced strikes. Hashirama used them as well, but only for finishing blows, not every punch and not to the extent of Tsunade. Ninjutsu-wise he was learning Suiton to counter Sasuke's Katon. He managed to learn the Suiton no Jutsu, water release, water bullet technique. It was a very adaptable jutsu that he could use to counter the Uchiha fireball jutsu very effectively. Sasuke was training with his father as much as he could manage himself. He managed to master the Katon, Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire release, grand fireball technique, and was improving his Shuriken Jutsu every day. The Uchiha Taijutsu was coming along, but without the Sharingan he couldn't use it to full capacity. Itachi showed Sasuke different Shuriken Jutsu that helped him stay at the top of the class in accuracy, but he was losing in Taijutsu and was tied in Nin and Genjutsu with Naruto. A very productive 2 years. Until tonight, the night it all would change for Sasuke. He was training with Naruto and was resting until he noticed that he was really late, and his mother was probably worried about him. Arriving to the Uchiha compound, it looked empty. It lacked any light or warmth he was used to when he got home. Running to his house, he noticed that all the lights were off and that he heard something collapse upstairs. Sasuke ran up to see what the noise was. Sasuke opened the door to find both of his parents dead with his Enai-san behind them. Enai-san. What happened? Why are they dead? What's going on? Sasuke didn't like the look in Itachi's eyes. I killed them all. Everyone in the clan is dead except for the two of us, Itachi said coldly and monotonously. His eyes were completely dead as he stared at his younger brother. Sasuke visibly flinched. You did what? Why? I wanted to test my strength. It turned out that I was right. The clan was weak and they went down with a pathetic ease. Itachi was starting to move forward. Sasuke was frozen, he didn't know what to do. Itachi grabbed his shirt and picked him up to eye level. There are eyes in our clan that only the best of the very best could hope to awaken. They are called the Mangekyo Sharingan. To awaken them you need to kill your best friend. You need to live in hatred. Only with hatred can you hope to gain the power to stand before me. Use your hatred, and when you possess the same eyes as mine, come before me. Itachi was starting to sound even more crazy by the end of his speech. Sasuke was shaking like a leaf and he was crying. All of it was too much to take in for the child. I want to show you something. It will help you gain hatred. Itachi closed his eyes for a second. When he opened them, they were a Sharingan that was in a shuriken pattern rather than the typical tomos. He looked into Sasuke's eyes. Tsukuyami, he muttered, and the world around them changed. Sasuke was forced to watch Itachi murder his clan, his family, over and over again for 72 hours straight. When it ended, his eyes were glazed over and he collapsed. Itachi turned away, dropping the genjutsu around his face and wiping his tears before whispering how sorry he was before leaving silently. Next day, Konoha Hospital. Sasuke was admitted to the hospital, but the doctors couldn't figure out how to awaken him from the coma he was in. Tsunade and Shizen were on their way to see if they could help with a shell-shocked Naruto following behind them slowly. Oba-san, did he really kill them all? Naruto couldn't wrap his head around killing your own family. He would die for his Oba-san and Nei-chan in a second. Tsunade's eyes softened. Yes, Naruto-chan, he did, only Sasuke-kun survived. She knew how much he liked going over to the Uchihas. Mikoto was a really nice woman. She would always cook for the both of them after their training and treated Naruto like a third son despite being a Senju. In Tsunade's book, that was worthy of praise, as she has met many Uchiha that resented her for her clan name. Naruto just nodded and made sure to be there for Sasuke, their friends, and he shouldn't be alone after losing all of his family in one night. Tsunade and Shizen walked into Sasuke's room with Naruto trailing behind them. I'm going to check him over. Shizen, bring me that clipboard. Naruto, go take a seat, ordered Tsunade. Naruto just sat in silence watching as Tsunade went over different things. Tsunade then put her hand on Sasuke's forehead for a second, then nodded to herself. He should wake up soon. He was put under a high-level genjutsu. He's very lucky there wasn't more damage, said Tsunade. Naruto got up and walked over to the side of the bed when Sasuke started to stir. Sasuke's vision was blurry, and he made out two blonde shapes over his head before his vision cleared and it noticed that it was Naruto and Tsunade. Happy as he was to see that he was alive, he was slowly remembering who wasn't living any longer and who was responsible. Glad you woke up, man, you gave everyone quite the scare, Naruto said. He was trying to see if there was any different after the jutsu, but he couldn't tell by looking at him. Sasuke groaned in pain. Did they catch him? His voice sounded dead, making Naruto tense. Tsunade shook her head with a frown. No. He was gone before anyone knew what happened. I'm sorry, Sasuke-kun. Please try and get some rest. She offered him a palm on his shoulder. Sasuke wasn't having it. He frowned and looked up at the older Senju. When can I start training again? Demanded Sasuke while glaring at his hands. The only thing keeping him here was Tsunade, and the second he could leave he would. Frowning at his tone, she answered, wait at least 3 days. You might be able to leave tomorrow, but you need to take it easy or there could be permanent damage. After saying that, she and Shizen left, and Naruto just waited for Sasuke to say anything. Seeing that Sasuke wasn't going to say anything, he did. What are you going to do now, Sasuke? Asked a worried Naruto, knowing that he wouldn't like the answer. Sasuke started to shake in anger. He didn't want to talk about it, but Naruto wouldn't leave unless he told him. I'm going to train as hard and as long as I can until I'm stronger than Itachi, then I'm going to kill him, was the stone voice reply from Sasuke. Naruto wasn't even a medic yet, and he knew that that wasn't healthy. Sasuke, that isn't healthy. Living like that will kill you. He meant for that to calm Sasuke down, but it had the opposite effect. Like, I care what you say, Senju. I don't care if it kills me. I'll kill Itachi no matter what. Nothing will stand in my way. His face darkened and he looked like he would continue, but Sasuke was getting weak from all the exertion. Get out of here. I'm going to sleep, muttered Sasuke before passing out. Naruto nodded and left. Outside the room was Tsunade, and she was frowning. I heard the end of that. He doesn't sound good. But considering what happened, it doesn't surprise me. Give him some space and he should come around. She didn't think he would, but she couldn't tell that to Naruto. Naruto nodded and started walking home. If Sasuke was going to dedicate all of his time to training, so was he. He needed to make sure that he could keep up with or stay ahead of Sasuke so he can make sure Sasuke doesn't do anything stupid that he would regret. 2 years later, Naruto has been training like there was no tomorrow for the past 2 years. He started learning medical ninjutsu. So far he was able to heal small cuts and bruises. His Obasan said that he was learning faster than Shizen did at his age, much to his embarrassment when she would say that in front of his Nei-chan. 8 months ago he learned a terrifying secret about himself from Tsunade and the old man. He was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. He certainly didn't see that coming. Apparently he should have bad or average chakra control, as most Jinchurikis can't get better than Jonin level control. But thanks to his Kekkai Genkai it can suppress the Kyuubi's chakra so that it didn't interfere with his control. Along with his medical skills he was learning from another man that was from the ANBU Black Ops named Tora. He wore a tiger mask and had the ability to use the Mokuton Kekkai Genkai. Naruto was shocked to find another relative, but apparently he was a subject to one of Orochimaru's experiments, allowing him to use a subpar version of his Kekkai Genkai. Tora was teaching him about Doton Chakra and helping along his Suiton training. He was getting there. He managed to learn some low-level Doton Jutsu and another Suiton Jutsu. Tora said that he should be able to get the necessary control in a year or two so that he could start using Mokuton. Naruto was excited to start learning his bloodline. Taijutsu-wise he was still the best. The forest style was amazing. He started to learn some of the basics to the running water style. It was made by the Nidaime Hokage Tobirama Senju. It was a more defensive and reactive style, relying on speed and redirection. Sasuke was training till he dropped every day as well. He was excelling in his ninjutsu, managing to learn a few more katan jutsu on his own, and kept up with his shuriken jutsu training and was learning more advanced katas for his taijutsu. He still hasn't managed to activate his Sharingan, but he wasn't training with anyone anymore to push him. Naruto and Sasuke's relationship changed after the Uchiha incident. Sasuke pushed everyone away, only allowing Naruto in when he wanted to spar. However, after the training he would leave without saying a word. He still was inferior to Naruto. No matter how much he trained, Naruto was ahead, but every spar he was getting better. Uchiha compound. Sasuke was going through some warm-ups before Naruto arrived. He wanted to spar again to see if he could keep up or even beat him. Naruto walked into the open area and frowned. He was hoping to get Sasuke to slowly open back up, but whenever he tried to talk to Sasuke he would close back up, even worse, lash out in anger, regressing further. Whenever you're ready, Sasuke, challenged Naruto. It was the only time he felt like Sasuke was his old self, when they were sparring. They both got into their stance. A leaf floated between them, and when it was out of sight they rushed forward. Sasuke was always the one to go on the offense first, throwing a punch to Naruto's stomach. Naruto redirected the punch and tried to kick Sasuke in the side. Sasuke flipped over Naruto and threw a handful of shuriken at the blonde. Naruto took out a kunai to deflect all the shuriken, only for a huge fireball to come into his vision from his side. Sasuke watched the fireball impact Naruto with anticipation. He was looking around the training ground for Naruto. The blonde shot up from under him and grabbed his ankles. Sasuke was waiting for this to happen and jumped away while flying through hand seals. Naruto went through 3 seals quicker, however. Suiton no Jutsu, water release, water bullet technique. Naruto released a torrent of water at Sasuke, who was nailed in the chest by the powerful blast of liquid. Naruto blurred over to Sasuke, who was tumbling back from the onslaught of the Suiton Jutsu. Sasuke shook his head from the tumble and looked up to see a kunai pointed at his throat. I give, grumbled Sasuke. Naruto smiled. That was good. Want to get some lunch, Sasuke? My treat. Naruto always offered food even if he was beaten. He wanted his friend to get out of his depression and was willing to be shot down 100 times if it meant he would succeed on the 101st. Sasuke looked at Naruto for a second before shrugging and lead a surprised Naruto out of the compound to the only place they, Naruto, like to eat, Ichiraku ramen. After ordering their food, Naruto looked over at Sasuke. I'm glad that you came with me, smiled Naruto. He was slowly chipping away at the cold exterior of his best friend. Sasuke just grunted. He wanted to eat, and Naruto was one of the few people he could tolerate. Most would either tell them how sorry they were or treated him like some fragile piece of glass. Out of all the people his age, Naruto was the only person he respected, and most of the time the person he hated the most. Naruto was the one to constantly remind him that he wasn't strong enough to go after Itachi during their spars. His progress was fast, but not nearly fast enough for his liking. Well, Naruto, you're paying. Naruto just nodded with a smile. He didn't want to push Sasuke to talk more than he felt he should or make him angry by trying to be there for him for anything. It was progress overall. Naruto and Sasuke just ate and went their separate ways with no more words. None were needed between them. Senju compound. Naruto arrived to his usual training ground in his family's compound. He was going through his taijutsu stances when he noticed that Tsunade was there looking at him with a glint in her eye. Well, Naruto-chan, how about we get some work in? You finished the water walking, now it's time to try one of my favorites. I want you to make a kunai spin over your hand, then you will have to balance it over a finger. After that the real fun begins. We put the kunai in the ground point up, and you have to balance yourself over it. Towards the end, Tsunade had an evil grin spread across her face. She really liked to push the chakra control training to the extreme. He took a breath before he took out a kunai and got to work. What Naruto didn't know was that he was about to reach the level of control that would be required to push the last levels of his nature transformation training. Tora would start him next week on them so he could hopefully get started on his Mokuton in a few months. 3 months later, Naruto, Tora and Tsunade were in the Senju training ground. Tora was instructing Naruto on a new clone jutsu without telling him exactly what kind of clone it was. Naruto backed up a few feet and went through 3 seals trying to do the jutsu. Nothing. Keep trying, it's a difficult jutsu. Tora instructed. Naruto went through the seals and kept trying over and over. After about 30 minutes he was about to give up for the day. Taking a breath and going through the seals once again, he concentrated on the flow of chakra. Naruto then felt a pull on the back of his neck. Turning around he noticed that he wasn't the only Naruto in the training ground anymore. Congratulations, you have successfully managed the Moku Bunshin no Jutsu, with clone technique. Tora was smiling behind his mask, not that anyone could see it. Tsunade clapped her hands with a smile and scooped Naruto up in a hug, smothering him between her enormous. Shizen was shaking her head with a smile. Tora waited for Tsunade to drop Naruto, who had a solid blush from his Obasan's excited hug. She really liked to do that. Okay Naruto. Now that you have successfully used your first Mokuton Jutsu, we can start training your control over the element. Tora was sure that hidden in the compound were the training scrolls the Shodaime Hokage made when he was learning his Kekkei Genkai, but until they found them he would have to settle for Tora's training methods. Naruto got an excited grin on his face. He couldn't wait to start creating forests at will or making enormous statues with his Kekkei Genkai. 2 years later, age 12, Naruto was on his way to the academy. It was the day of the exam and he was excited to start his life as a shinobi. His training has been quite fruitful these past 2 years. Tsunade has been upping the medical ninjutsu training ever since his control got to her liking. His Shozen Jutsu, Mystic Palm technique, was very good. He was able to heal all of the training injuries he received and has been following Tsunade and Shizen around the hospital to get more experience. It was quite exhausting, but rewarding when he succeeded in helping someone in need. Naruto has been trying to perfect his forest-style taijutsu. It has been coming along quite well. He was untouchable in taijutsu by anyone other than Sasuke, who activated his Sharingan a few weeks ago after one of their more violent spars when Naruto didn't hold back much. Sasuke gave as good as he got when his bloodline activated and Naruto found it very hard to win in hand-to-hand. Ninjutsu-wise, Naruto learned a few more each jutsu, his favorite being the Doton, Doria Taiga, Earth Release, Earth Flow River. He used it constantly against Sasuke in their now weekly spars. The Suiton jutsu Naruto learned was the Suiton, Suidanya, Water Release, Water Severing Wave. He would mold chakra in his body then spew it out in a highly pressurized stream. He could cut through trees with it if he tried hard enough. Genjutsu-wise, he learned how to release some higher-level jutsu and learned the ever-useful Magen, Kokoni Areza no Jutsu, Demonic Illusion, False Surroundings technique. He was quickly finding out how much he loved the jutsu. It was one of his most versatile jutsu, requiring only one hand seal. He overused the hell out of it before Sasuke awakened the Sharingan. Now it wasn't very useful. He was most proud of the progress he has made on his Kekkei Genkai. He managed to learn a few powerful jutsu. Naruto learned the Mokuton, Daijirin no Jutsu, Wood Release, Great Forest technique, turning his arm into wood he could use it to bind or pierce his opponent. Also the Mokuton, Mokujihiki, Wood Release, Wood Locking Wall. Depending on the amount of chakra he put into the jutsu, he could use it to block almost anything, except for one of his Obasan's punches. He didn't have the skill with his Kekkei Genkai to block such devastating strikes, but his now favorite jutsu, the Mokuton, Jukai Koten, Would Release, Nativity of the Sea of Trees. It was a jutsu that could create a forest on any surface. He could make the smallest plant into an enormous tree in a matter of moments. His sensei Tora didn't even know the jutsu, nor did he teach it to the blonde. Naruto was training and found the scroll inside one of the trees in the compound. It told him that only someone that had the Mokuton Kekkei Genkai could find the scroll. When he tried to show the jutsu to his sensei, he could use it since it required such a strong life force that Tora wasn't born with. Entering the classroom for hopefully the last time, he took his seat and waited. He was always the first one here. I wonder who I will get on my team? I'll be the rookie of the year by such a small margin, so I will get the top kunoichi, who I think might be Ino or Sakura, not sure. I hope I get someone cool on my team like Shikamaru or Kiba. He was broken from his thoughts when Kiba jumped up to the seat next to him with Akamaru in his jacket. Sup Naruto? Akamaru barked right after to say hello. Hey Kiba, Akamaru. Where are you in the placements? You're at the bottom, right? Asked Naruto. It wasn't an insult. Naruto actually looked hopeful. Kiba just shook his head. No, I'm more towards the middle. He didn't like the academy. All he really did was make sure he didn't fail but excelled in taijutsu and physical workouts. Naruto nodded, he thought so. Suddenly 2 girls burst into the room, one with blonde hair and the other with pink hair. First, they both yelled at the same time. Ino and Sakura were rivals at the academy. Ino Yamanaka was Sakura's first friend when she was made fun of for her overly large forehead, But after they got to the academy they both fell in love with Sasuke and the friendship ended and the rivalry started. Ino looked around the room and noticed that Naruto had an open seat next to him. She ran up and sat next to him. "Hello Naruto-kun, are you ready for the graduation test today?" she asked while smiling at the blonde. Naruto had been the subject of her affections since the second year of the academy when he sat next to her, and was always happy to talk to her, which was way more than any other cute boy did. Sakura was fighting her way to sit next to Sasuke. She pushed away some other civilian boy on the seat and looked at Sasuke happily. "Hi Sasuke-kun. I'm gonna sit here if that's okay." Sasuke didn't respond, he just looked at her for a second before grunting. Iruka walked in and after yelling at everyone to settle down he cleared his throat. "Okay, the final for the graduation will be the Bunshin no Jutsu, clone technique." After he told them that, he walked into the other room and called out the first name on the list. Naruto was watching people walk into the examination room one after another. "What are you going to do to celebrate passing, Naruto-kun?" asked Ino. She was hoping that he would ask her to go to dinner after the test, but she wasn't as delusional as people thought. "I'm not sure. I think Tsunade Obasan will want to do something, but she hasn't told me anything, neither has my Nei-chan." Ino nodded. She has wanted to meet Tsunade of the Sannin since she heard of her. She was like the kunoichi every girl wanted to be. Naruto got up and walked over to Sasuke after excusing himself from Ino. "Hey, what are you doing after the test?" "I'm going to train Senju. How about it? Want to have a little dance after class?" After Naruto used his Kekkai Genkai in one of their spars, he only really called him Senju in public, only calling him Naruto during their fights. Even then it didn't happen that much. Naruto got a look in his eye that was more anticipation than anything else. "Oh. You want to have a spar, Sasuke?" "Yes, that would be fun. Meet me at the Senju training ground later. I want you where my medical supplies are so I can heal you afterwards." Naruto always got a thrill when fighting Sasuke. He loved every second of it. He suspected Sasuke did as well, considering he always came back for more. Hokage's office. All the Jonin and the Sandaime Hokage were huddled around the seeing orb on the Hokage's desk. "So those are the heirs to the Senju and the Uchiha clans?" a woman in red bandages and vines said, observing them. "Yes, that is Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun. They are both incredibly talented," the Hokage said after taking a puff from his pipe. "Senju Naruto," a silver-haired Jonin thought to himself, looking over the blonde who was looking like he was about to break out in a fight with the Uchiha. "As you can see, Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun have their family's rivalry. With Naruto being at the top, my plan for having them both together had to be changed since it would be unbalanced." The Hokage continued to watch until the rest were called to take the test, answering any of the Jonin's questions when they came up. Testing room. Naruto walked into the room and saw that Iruka-sensei and Mizuki-sensei were sitting behind a desk with a bunch of headbands on it. "Okay Naruto, please perform the Bunshin no Jutsu, clone technique," Iruka instructed. Naruto nodded and went through the seals. A perfect clone puffed next to him. Both of the instructors nodded. "Congratulations Naruto, you pass. Come and take your headband." Naruto couldn't keep the grin off his face, taking the headband and tying it around his forehead before walking out of the room. Everyone missed the dark look that passed over Mizuki's face. Naruto walked back into the classroom with his headband on. Ino smiled at him happily. "Amazing Naruto, but it was kind of expected, right? You are at the top after all." Naruto smiled at her. "Same can be said to you. Good luck Ino." "Do you want me to wait for you?" asked Naruto. Ino's face lit up after hearing that. "Sure Naruto-kun. We can get some lunch afterwards to celebrate." Naruto nodded, watching her walk off before Kiba walked up to him, headband tied proudly around his forehead. "Nice man. So what are you going to do now?" "I'm going to go to lunch with Ino. Want to come?" asked Naruto. He clearly didn't get the reason Ino was so excited to go to lunch, but Kiba had a grin on his face. "No, I'm going to celebrate with my mom and sis." "Enjoy." Kiba's sly comment went over the blonde's head. Naruto just shrugged. When he saw a happy Ino with a headband tied around her waist, he walked up to her. "Good job Ino. Let's go get some lunch." Ino and Naruto walked out of the academy to see parents congratulating their children who passed. Naruto and Ino walked through and noticed that Tsunade and Shizen were waiting. "Oba-san, Nei-chan!" shouted Naruto, waving at them to get their attention. Tsunade and Shizen walked over to their little blonde. Shizen got an evil look in her eye when she noticed Ino. Tsunade was giving another smothering hug to Naruto, much to his embarrassment, either of them noticing all the jealous looks Naruto was getting, or the angry looks the wives were giving the men who were starring. When she let Naruto down, she gave him a kiss on the forehead. Naruto's face went beet red in embarrassment, making Tsunade chuckle. Shizen decided to interrupt at that point. "Congratulations Naruto-kun. Who is this cutie? Is she your girlfriend?" Noticing the blush that appeared on Naruto's face and hopeful look that Ino was trying to hold back, she smirked even more. "No Nei-chan, we are friends. We're going to get some lunch. Do you guys want to come?" Tsunade looked like she was going to accept, only for Shizen to stop her. "Go ahead Naruto-kun, I'm sure you and Ino-chan will have a good time." Tsunade frowned but then smirked when she understood what Shizen was trying to do. While Naruto and Ino were walking off, someone shouted from behind them. "Ino-hime!" They both stopped and turned around. Running up was an older male version of Ino. Naruto noted that he was from the original Ino Shikucho team, and must be her father. "Daddy?" Ino was scooped up into a big hug from her father. Congratulations, Haim. Who are you and what are you doing with Ino? Glared Inoichi. He didn't want any boy near his daughter, much less a boy her age. Naruto didn't know why, but he was suddenly very nervous. I'm Naruto Senju, Yamanaka-sama. Bowing politely like his Nei-chan taught him. Tsunade didn't care if he had manners herself, but Shizen was adamant in that he wouldn't behave like her master. Inoichi was eyeing the kid seriously as if having a mental debate. I'm Inoichi Yamanaka, where are you two going? He wanted to know if he was going to have to destroy the mind of a young Senju or not. Ino decided that enough was enough at that point. Daddy? We are going to lunch. I'll be home right after, I promise. Inoichi immediately stopped and looked at his princess before nodding. Eyeing Naruto one last time before leaving in a swirl of leaves. Sorry, Naruto-kun, where do you want to go? Naruto just grinned and took her by the hand before running off. Ichiraku ramen. Naruto ordered his food, then looked at Ino expectantly. I will have 1 chicken ramen. Naruto looked at her with a frown. You should have gotten the large. Trust me, this is the best food in the village. Assured Naruto. I can't eat that much of this stuff. It's really bad for you. Scoffed Ino. Ramen was mostly salt. That was the best meal for a girl hoping to keep her figure. Don't worry. You won't get a bad figure. My Oba-san eats here with me all the time, and you see how she looks. She is still probably the most beautiful kunoichi alive right now. Tsunade may be his aunt, but Naruto loved and treated her like she was his mother. So he liked to brag about her, and he liked to pretend that she thought that way about him too. Ino froze at that. She eats. I will definitely eat here more often. She was still young, but she wanted to have a sizable bust like Tsunade, and if she could eat here and have a killer figure like that, then she would follow her example. Maybe eating such things was the secret to developing such a sizable bust. Walking out of the stand, Naruto was laughing at the stuffed Ino. So 3 bowls? Congratulations on entering the world of ramen lovers. Congratulated Naruto. Ino grumbled to herself. She didn't like that she found the food absolutely delicious but wouldn't lie to herself and say that the food wasn't good. Well, bye Ino, thanks for coming with me, said Naruto before he was about to walk off. Ino smiled. I wouldn't mind doing it again sometime if you want. Naruto smiled and nodded before running off to his house to hopefully get there before Sasuke does. Senju compound. Naruto was stretching when he heard someone enter the training ground. Ready to lose, Sasuke? Challenged Naruto. His blood was starting to pump in anticipation of their fight. Sasuke was grinning madly himself. Bring it on, Naruto. Both of them got into a stance. Naruto decided to start it off, charging in at close to top speed, becoming a blur and going for a kick. Sasuke, who activated his Sharingan, noticed the kick and leaned back and landed a lightning-fast punch on Naruto. Rearing back from the punch before engaging at a faster pace, knowing that Sasuke would have trouble keeping up at this level, he went on the offense. They both engaged in a blur of punches and kicks, neither getting too many hits in on the other but not coming out unscathed either. Over to the side of the training ground, Tsunade was watching the spar with a frown. She hated when they fought nowadays. They always took it too far, and while she trusts Naruto, sometimes he would get carried away and stop holding back and fight with intent to kill. Both of the boys were far too excited by combat that she was worried that it wasn't healthy. Back in the fight, Sasuke tossed half a dozen shuriken at Naruto for him to jump back and to make some seals to use the Mokuton, Mokujihiki, wood release, wood locking wall, to block the fireball that was approaching him. Naruto went through some more seals and shot a high-pressure stream of water through the wood at Sasuke, who managed to avoid most of the jutsu before jumping back from the tendrils of wood coming from the ground. Sasuke watched as wood beams started to converge on him while going through seals, Katon, Ryuka no Jutsu, fire release, dragon flame technique, putting more chakra to give it extra power so as to burn the wood. The flames were hot enough to turn the wood that was coming at him to ash, giving the Uchiha some breathing room. Naruto frowned. He didn't know that Sasuke knew something like that. It was a B-ranked Katon jutsu for sure. Naruto took out a shuriken and tossed it before going through seals for the Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. 1 shuriken became hundreds, while Sasuke was using a Katon jutsu to destroy the clone shuriken. Naruto was building a lot of chakra before the ground shook and trees started to grow at an incredible rate. Mokuton, Jukai Koten, would release, nativity of the world of trees. Always an impressive jutsu no matter when I use it, thought Naruto with a grin. This was his ultimate jutsu. Sasuke was having different thoughts, however. When the hell did he get a jutsu on this ridiculous of a level? He was trying to dodge the trees that were trying to bind him, while the trees were cornering Sasuke. Naruto was jumping around the trees trying to get towards the top, charging his fist with chakra. Sasuke was grabbed by the ankle and it was over. Sasuke was wrapped by the trees in a second. Naruto was above him preparing his final attack. Noticing that Sasuke was trapped, he jumped at him and slammed his fist into Sasuke, breaking him out of the trees and causing him to crash onto the ground, creating a small crater. Naruto landed next to him and put both of his hands on the ground and took back in the chakra from his jutsu, and making the trees go back into the ground. Looking back over to Sasuke, he placed a glowing green hand on his chest and started to numb him. He went too far with that punch. Luckily he didn't put too much into it, but he didn't like to use chakra-enhanced strength in his spars. Tsunade walked up with a frown on her face. A little overboard, don't you think? Naruto nodded absently. He was still focusing on Sasuke. Sasuke groaned and opened his eyes. When did you learn that jutsu, Naruto? Sasuke has only read about that jutsu, never thinking that Naruto was capable of using it. It was said to be the jutsu that created the forests around their village during its conception. Naruto grinned. I learned it a bit ago, but it wasn't ready to use against you yet. I hope you start training even harder now or you won't catch up, Sasuke-chan. Teased Naruto, making Sasuke growl. He hated being reminded, but it wasn't like he wasn't thinking it himself. Thanks for the spar, I'm going to head home. See you at the academy tomorrow for team placements, Sasuke said before he jumped off to head home before Naruto could say anything, making the blonde frown. I wish he would open up more, I hate what Itachi did to him, muttered Naruto. Tsunade just frowned in response, deciding to lighten the mood. Come on, Naruto-chan, go get cleaned up so we can eat whatever Shizen made to celebrate. Naruto smiled before running off to get cleaned up. Shizen was the best cook. Next day, academy classroom. Naruto was waiting for Iruka to walk and he was running late, which wasn't like the scarred Chunin. The door opened and Iruka walked in with a few bandages on but fine otherwise. Okay, settle down. You're now Shinobi of Konoha. I don't want you all to think that you'll achieve your dreams or that all of you will live long enough to even try to achieve your dreams. Right now you are only genin, bottom of the food chain, but with hard work I'm sure that you will climb the ranks. Now for the team's placements. Naruto wasn't paying attention after that. Team 7 will be Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto started to listen, interested in who will be with Sasuke. Sakura Haruno Sakura jumped up and cheered at all the groaning fellow fangirls. And Choji Akimichi. Team 8 will be Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame and Kiba Inuzuka. All of them were fine with the placements of the team. Neither of them had any problem with the other. Team 9 is still going and Team 10 is Naruto Senju, Ino Yamanaka, and Ino was holding herself back from cheering. That would be lame to do right in front of Naruto. Shikamaru and Nara, your senseis will be here any minute now. Iruka walked out of the room, leaving the students to wait for their senseis. Naruto and Ino walked over to Shikamaru. Hey! Looks like we're going to be on the same team, Shikamaru, started Naruto with a smile. Shikamaru yawned and looked at the two blondes in front of him. Troublesome. Yeah, looks like it, Naruto. Right as Shikamaru said that, the doors slid open and two jonin walked in. One was a grinning woman with purple hair and a pineapple-like ponytail and a light brown trench coat. The male jonin was in the standard jonin attire with a black short-sleeved shirt instead of the long-sleeved blue shirt that was normal. Team 8, come with me, the woman said. Team 10, let's go, the male jonin said. Naruto, Ino and Shikamaru followed silently until they noticed that they were in a barbecue restaurant. The jonin led them to a booth. Then, well, have a seat. Why don't we start off with an introduction? Names, likes, dislikes, goals, hobbies, whatever you like. The three of them nodded quietly. Why don't you go first, sensei? Ino didn't even know the guy's name. The man nodded while lighting a cigarette and taking a puff. I'm Asuma Sarutobi. My likes are smoking and shogi. Dislikes are when people tell me to stop smoking, and my goals, I guess, to settle down with a family. Now you first, Drowsy. Shikamaru mumbled something under his breath. I'm Shikamaru Nara. My likes are shogi and cloud watching. Dislikes are troublesome people, and my goal is to marry an average girl and retire as a Chunin. Asuma chuckled while Ino and Naruto's sweat dropped. Ino cleared her throat and started talking without being prompted. I'm Ino Yamanaka. My likes are flowers and dislikes are lazy people. Shooting Shikamaru a glare, making him mutter something about troublesome blondes. Goals are to surpass my father's skills with our clan's jutsu, finished Ino, nodding her head happy with her introduction. Asuma gestured to Naruto. I'm Naruto Senju. I like nature. My Obasan Nechan. Dislikes are people who judge before they meet someone. Goals are to surpass my ancestors and become the Hokage. Asuma looked them over. He had a lazy Nara, a Yamanaka princess, and a Senju prodigy. He liked the team, but they'll likely need a lot of work to work as a unit. Okay, you three. Tomorrow we'll have a test that will determine if you can become full-fledged genin. Seeing the confused looks, he elaborated. The academy test was to see if you had what it takes to become a genin. Meet me at training ground 10 tomorrow at 8 o'clock. All of them ate the meal and left to go home to prepare for the test tomorrow. Senju compound, training fields. Naruto was working on his control over his Mokutan. He was making trees and trying to control more than one branch at a time with better precision. He decided to mold Chakra into the tree to his right, but instead of it moving, it started to shake slightly and fight him for control. Naruto stopped what he was doing and looked over at the tree, walking up to it and putting his hand on it to feel the core. There was Chakra already flowing through it, not his nor Tora Sensei's, but it was familiar for some reason. Making the snake seal and concentrating on the tree, Naruto started to mold Chakra to overpower the dormant Chakra in the tree. His Chakra levels were slowly rising higher and higher. Hokage's office. Tsunade and the Hokage were discussing the matter of whether or not Naruto should be allowed to use his Kekkei Genkai in the field now that he was a genin. What I'm saying, sensei, is the Mokutan is his greatest weapon right now, and it is his birthright to use. Not to mention the last Uchiha. Since he's the last user of his family's Kekkei Genkai, should he not be allowed to use his Sharingan? Tsunade made an excellent point. Sasuke was going to be sought after for his now endangered Kekkei Genkai, so Naruto should be allowed to use his power if he wanted to. That makes a surprisingly good amount of sense. We both of them looked towards the Senju compound where they felt Naruto's chakra, which was flaring quite highly. Both exchanged looks before leaving to see what the commotion was. Senju compound, training fields. Naruto was so focused on his task of overpowering the dormant chakra he didn't notice that the Hokage and Tsunade arrived behind him with confused expressions. Naruto kept raising his chakra levels higher and higher. He was starting to glow with an orangish-yellow aura of chakra. Tsunade was about to walk forward to see what was wrong but was stopped by Hiruzen. He wanted to see what exactly Naruto was trying to do uninterrupted. The tree was shaking wildly and Naruto felt it was about to give, so he put all of his power into the tree, every ounce of it. The Hokage and Tsunade were shocked that Naruto's chakra was so strong already. The tree in front of Naruto finally started to open and out popped a large scroll that was the size of the scroll of seals. Naruto felt woozy and was swaying before falling to the ground and almost passed out. Both the Hokage and Tsunade rushed over to the fallen blonde. Tsunade started to check over Naruto, while the Sandaime inspected the seal. This must have been left here by Hashirama-sensei, just like that jutsu Naruto found a few weeks ago, but this required much more chakra and control of the Mokuton that the other tree did. Hashirama-sama must have made it so someone could only access the scrolls should the person have the necessary strength and control to use what lies within them. The man known as the professor deduced almost instantly. Tsunade kept checking over Naruto until he started to stir. "I'm fine, Ka-chan, I'm up." A drowsy Naruto muttered, making Tsunade freeze. She kept looking at Naruto with a wide-eyed expression. She has heard some people say that they look similar with the hair color and skin tone, plus with her henge up she looked around the age of Kushina. But to hear Naruto call her that, even if he was drowsy, it shocked her. But what shocked her more was that she liked being called his mother. She certainly treated and loved him like a son. Naruto shook his head, not knowing what he said or that it caused such a storm of emotions inside his aunt. "Man, I have never used that much power in something before. It was exhausting," Naruto said loud enough that the Hokage and Tsunade were brought out of their thoughts. "How are you feeling, Naruto-kun?" the Hokage asked. Judging from the fact that Naruto was standing up, he was sure the boy was fine. "Well, I didn't think that I would need to use so much chakra, but I'm curious to look inside of the scroll." Naruto went over to the scroll and opened it. There was a complex seal in the first part that started to glow. They weren't expecting to see a smoke pop up and to hear coughing. The three watching were looking at the smoke with wide eyes. "Man, I didn't expect there to be so much smoke. I should tell Toby to fix that." The smoke cleared to reveal the Shodaime Hokage in all his glory. He was over 6 feet tall with long black hair that went to his middle back. He wore mesh armor under a black fur-fitting suit and red armor over that. None of the three could even speak. They were trying to gain their motor functions so they could pick up their jaws. It was incredible to see such a legend before their eyes. "Hey! Hiruzen! Good to see you! Man, you look like really old!" Hashirama exclaimed in a booming voice that shocked Naruto. He didn't think someone as renowned as the Shodaime Hokage to be so exuberant. "Hashirama-sensei, how? What?" Hiruzen eloquently asked. He missed his senseis so much, and to see one of them after so many years was truly a treat. Hashirama laughed at his shocked student. "Well, this is one of my scrolls I put throughout the compound, so if someone awakened my Mokuton I could at least meet them." Hashirama looked around and stopped on Tsunade. "Tsunade-chan, is that really you?" Tsunade definitely grew up. Hashirama was surprised that his little princess was so, how should he put it, developed. Tsunade almost started to cry at seeing her grandfather after so long. "It is Aji-san. How are you here right now? You have been dead for over 50 years. Hashirama's eyes widened after hearing that. 50 years? Wow, wait, how was Tsunade so young? Concentrating on her more, he felt some chakra surrounding her, so she was using a henge to look younger. "I didn't think you were so vain that you would use a henge to look younger, but you are very beautiful, Tsunade-chan." Tsunade blushed hearing that. Naruto decided that he was the only one left that wasn't introduced. "Hello, Hashirama-sama, my name is Naruto Senju. I was the one to open the tree to get the scroll," Naruto said while bowing politely. Hashirama ran up and picked him up like he was a baby and inspected him. Grinning wildly, he started to cheer and spin crazily. "I was worried that nobody else would inherit my Kekkei Genkai. This is amazing, Naruto-kun. And to come so far so fast, you're almost to where I was at your age." Hashirama was really impressed, but he was almost the head of the Senju clan when he was a teenager. After Hashirama stopped the spinning, Naruto was sure that his neck was about to snap from the whiplash. "So, I am nothing more than a Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, shadow clone technique. I don't have a long time, so I want to explain to you that this scroll is the techniques that someone who is capable of opening the tree would be able to use." None of them noticed that Hiruzen gave a small fist pump at being right. "I will tell you that when you master this scroll it will lead you to the next one. I will tell you that there are, including this one, 3 scrolls throughout the compound, and the next one will have the rest of my jutsu. But the third one will have something else, something better. I'm sorry that I won't be there to help you learn this stuff since the other scrolls don't have any Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, shadow clone technique, so I apologize." Naruto was listening more intently than he ever has before. It wasn't every day that a dead ancestor was there to instruct you on your Kekkei Genkai that was thought to be lost but you somehow have. "So, the next scroll have the rest of your jutsu. but the third one has something even more powerful than your jutsu, or is it just the hardest to learn? Naruto asked. He was trying to get over the fact that there were 2 more scrolls left, and only one had jutsu in them. Hashirama nodded. I won't spoil it, but the third scroll requires complete peace and perfect control. It was vague, but Hashirama liked to be mysterious. Mito said it was amusing when he would do it to make fun of his brother who was the pinnacle of control. Tobirama would usually lose it and scold Hashirama for acting like a child before stomping away. Seeing as how I have said what I wanted to say, I would like to do something one last time. Hashirama put his hands in the snake's seal. The 3 watching started to look around at the surrounding forest. It was almost coming to life, or at least becoming younger. I'm using the Mokuton, Jukai Koten, would release, nativity of the Sea of Trees, to make the surrounding forest more vibrant and my old training ground less dark. He could feel the forest. The trees were just as large as he remembered, but they were almost corroded. After he was done, most of the trees affected by his jutsu looked healthier and much stronger. That is all the chakra I have left. I will be dispelling soon. It was good to see you, Hiruzen, Tsunade-chan, and it was very nice to meet you, Naruto-kun, and I'm glad that there is someone like you to help bring the village to new heights that I know you can. And maybe you can accomplish my dream of making a place where everyone can understand each other, and fighting won't be necessary any longer. Hashirama said with such passion it showed Naruto exactly why he was held in such high esteem. Naruto did the only thing he could, he bowed. I will succeed, I swear, Hashirama-sama. Naruto never really thought about that kind of world, only that he wanted to become strong to surpass his ancestors and be the next Hokage. But hearing what the Shodaime Hokage always wanted to do and that he could take up the task of completing the Shodaime's goal for him was an honor. It also showed him how narrow his views have been and selfish he was. Hashirama smiled at the blonde and waved to his tearful granddaughter and former student before dispelling. A few silent moments passed before anyone said anything. That was incredible, to think I would ever get to meet the Hashirama Senju. Naruto started to fanboy over his ancestor, making the older ninja watching him chuckle. It was good to see Hashirama-sensei one more time indeed. Tsunade didn't say anything, she only nodded. Naruto walked back over to the scroll before opening it to look inside. A smirk formed on his face. These would do just fine. Tsunade and Hiruzen looked over his shoulder at the jutsus in the scroll. After sharing a look, they shook their heads. Naruto would never stop training now. Don't think that just because you have that scroll means you can neglect your other studies. You're coming along so well in your medical skills, I won't let you fall behind, mister. Tsunade's tone didn't really cover how serious she was. Naruto had so much potential in the medical ninjutsu field that it would be a travesty to let him ignore it for some flashy although very helpful jutsu. I'm going to get to work. It was good to see you, Gigi. I'm going to work on a jutsu that caught my eye. Naruto didn't really wait to hear what they had to say before running off. I really think that Naruto-kun has the potential to become the Hokage in a few years. And with Hashirama-sensei's jutsu, I don't know how strong he could become. Hiruzen never saw how strong Hashirama really was, he only heard about it from his sensei, the Nidaime Hokage. Tsunade nodded as she watched Naruto sit down and started to read over the scroll for a jutsu that he found particularly useful. Next day, Training Ground 10. Naruto was meditating in the training ground waiting for his sensei and his teammates to arrive so they could start the test so as to see if they could become full-fledged genin. He was told last night that he was allowed to use all of his jutsu, even his Kekkai Genkai. He couldn't wait to try them out on his sensei. It killed him all these years that he couldn't talk about his Kekkai Genkai, but he couldn't because his Obasan would punch him through the nearest wall for a lack of discretion. Naruto was using one of his new training exercises. It involved feeling the trees around him, using their natural chakra to feel around the environment. In the scroll it said that Hashirama could sense hundreds of miles easily using this technique when he mastered it. Since Naruto only read about it yesterday, he wasn't quite the master yet. Ino Yamanaka arrived to the training ground 5 minutes before the test was scheduled to start, only to see that Naruto was the only other person here. Not looking a gift horse in the mouth, she walked up and sat down right in front of him, tapping him on the forehead to get his attention. You there, Naruto-kun? We only have 5 minutes before the test starts. He slowly opened his eyes to look at the blonde girl in front of him. I'm here, Ino, I was just training. He didn't feel like telling her what he was training. He would show her when he got the hang of it. Asuma and Shikamaru both arrived at exactly 8 o'clock. Good morning, you guys. Your test will be for the most part simple. All you will have to do is capture me within the hour. Asuma didn't say anything more, he just disappeared, signifying flawless use of the Shunshin no Jutsu, body flicker technique. All 3 of the hopeful genin just stared at the spot their sensei previously occupied. So he expects us to not only find him but to attack and capture him. This is just troublesome. We need to track him. I have a plan on how we can capture him. Shikamaru said, already assuming the position of the team leader. Naruto thought about it for a second. So, anyone have any tracking skills? Have something, but it is nowhere near being able to be used to find a jonin. Naruto didn't want to rely on his brand new technique, but if it was the only option, it would have to do. Shikamaru looked over to his right for a second before looking at Naruto. He's right over there. Shikamaru said, pointing to his right where Asuma was not even 30 feet away watching them while smoking. Naruto and Ino just sweat dropped. Looking at his teammates for a second, Naruto decided to take charge. Okay, Naruto, you and Ino will need to beat him into the direction of that tree, and then I will capture him with my jutsu. For the most part that was the idea that Naruto had, but the constant interruptions were getting to the blonde. He really needs to let me finish a damn sentence. It's really annoying that he keeps interrupting me. Naruto rushed forward, tossing a shuriken at Asuma, then going for a low kick which the elite shinobi just jumped back from. Naruto shot forward and sent a high kick towards his team leader, who slapped it away. Twisting with momentum, Naruto sent a haymaker towards his sensei, who leaned out of the way. While the Jonin knew that he was more than fast enough to dodge, he was shocked when he was hit on the cheek. Asuma was confused for a second before realizing his mistake and flared his chakra to release the genjutsu. The Naruto in front of him disappeared, showing that it was a genjutsu, in fact an illusion. The Magen, Kokoni Areza no Jutsu, demonic illusion, false surroundings technique. I have never seen it used in such a way. I will tell Kurenai about this. She'll like to hear that a genin was willing and able to use genjutsu. Asuma was brought out of his thought when Ino dropped in front of him with a kunai in hand, ready to engage. While Ino was trying and failing to lead Asuma anywhere, Naruto decided that now was the perfect opportunity to attack Asuma from a distance with his Mokuton. Asuma was impressed with his female student's taijutsu. While it was nowhere near as fast as Naruto's, but it was good for a newly graduated genin. The ground under Asuma broke apart, and giant branches and roots of wood started to attack him simultaneously. Mokuton. I don't believe it. Dad said that he was very impressive, but to think he has the Shodaime Hokage's legendary Kekkei Genkai. He will be incredibly powerful in the future. Asuma was starting to take this very seriously as he took out one of his trench knives, flowing wind chakra through it. He went to work. His chakra-enhanced knife easily cut through the wood and allowed him to maintain breathing room away from the dead wood. Using grace that someone who has years of training could only hope to achieve, Asuma continued to dodge, slice, and destroy Naruto's jutsu. In the trees, Shikamaru was watching with wide eyes. I always knew Naruto was troublesome, but to have the Mokuton, that's insane. Well, I can use this to capture Asuma-sensei in the Kageme no Jutsu, shadow imitation technique. Thought Shikamaru as he started to creep forward towards the fight. Back in the fight, Naruto was getting seriously annoyed. Not only was Asuma dodging and destroying his branches, but he was getting closer and closer to him. Naruto noticed that the shadows behind Asuma were starting to move. Gaining a smirk on his face, Naruto went through more hand signs. Asuma was about to move in and disable Naruto when giant hands made of wood shot out of the ground and tried to crush him. He did what any sane person would do and jumped back to gain some space, right into the Shikamaru's shadow. Shikamaru smirked when Asuma's foot hit the shadow. Kageme no Jutsu, shadow imitation technique, success. Shikamaru said loud enough for everyone to hear him. Ino came out of the forest where she was waiting for another opening after Naruto started to use his jutsu. That was incredible, Naruto-kun, Shikamaru. Ino didn't really do anything during the test. It was mostly Naruto and Shikamaru. Even though Shikamaru was just the one to capture Asuma, it was more than she did. Yes, it was. Good job, you three. Let me out of this jutsu, Shikamaru. Shikamaru complied and both of them started stretching a little. Now, Naruto, that's quite the skill set you have there, Mokuton. Tusan said that you were special, but I didn't think that much. Asuma didn't remotely think that he was capable of using the legendary Kekkei Genkai of the Shodaime Hokage. Yeah, that was incredible. Was it really, Mokuton? Ino asked. She never expected that Naruto was not only a Senju but a direct descendant to the Shodaime Hokage. It was unreal. Yeah, I learned that I had this Kekkei Genkai when I was about 7 years old. But I unknowingly awakened it when I was 6 when I first activated my chakra. Naruto was happy that he finally got to tell people his own age other than the ever-silent Sasuke about his Kekkei Genkai. The Uchiha was never impressed with anything, just more or less pensive depending on the situation. Well, that's all well and good, and since you three successfully managed to capture me, I henceforth declare us Team 10. We'll start our missions tomorrow as well as team training. Oh, Naruto, what was that jutsu towards the end with all the wood arms? Asked Asuma. He was very intrigued with that technique. It has a lot of potential. Naruto perked up. This was the jutsu that caught his eye last night. It was the Mokuton, Hote no Jutsu, wood release, laughing Buddha jutsu. I started learning it last night. When I master the jutsu, the hands should be massive and the range will increase exponentially. Naruto couldn't wait until he mastered the jutsu. It was gonna be amazing. Asuma nodded. Cool. Well, see you three tomorrow. Asuma left without another word to go and report to the Hokage. That was fun, you guys, but I need to get to the hospital. I promised my Obasan that I would help her today after the exam. Naruto said before darting off before the other two could get a word in. If he was late, then he would have another shift as punishment, and as rewarding as healing people was, it was ridiculously tiring. Ino, deflated at not getting another chance to spend time with Naruto, but shook it off with practiced ease. Well, Shikamaru, what do you have to do today? I have to go help my dad with the deer, not to mention train. My Ka-san is making me train even more since she heard I would be on the same team as Naruto. Something about not being a burden or something. After seeing a little of what the blonde Senju was capable of, he had to admit that his mother was right. If he didn't start training to keep up, all he would end up being is dead weight. Ino nodded and left. She didn't have anything to do today, maybe she would go annoy Forehead. Yeah, that sounded like a lot of fun, plus she could see how her team did. Hokage's office. All the Jonin that were testing the new genin were standing at attention in front of the Hokage. Okay, let's get started. Who passed, and who failed? The Sandaime started to listen to all of the teams that failed. It wasn't much of a surprise. He only really expected 2 or 3 teams to pass. Kakashi stepped forward. Surprisingly, Team 7 passed. You could hear a pencil drop in the room since Kakashi never passed a team. Coming out of his momentary shock, the Hokage asks, "So how did the test go?" He was also curious about the Uchiha. He only barely lost to Naruto for the spot of Rookie of the Year. Kakashi thought about it for a second. Well, I did the normal bell test. It started out exactly how I expected. The 3 of them separated and attacked me individually. However, Sasuke was very strong. He managed to touch a bell, and had I not backed off, he would have taken it. That kid is good. I can only imagine how good Naruto is if he beat out Sasuke. The other 2, Choji and Sakura, were almost exactly how their files said they were. Both have lots of potential, but right now they are still fresh and don't yet have the same drive that Sasuke does to get stronger. After they attacked me individually, Sasuke managed to figure out the meaning of the test and got Choji to work with him, and Sakura never needed convincing. She would listen to whatever he says. With teamwork, I let them get the bell and they passed. Kakashi sighed since he wasn't used to talking that much, but that was the gist of what happened. Everyone was mulling over their thoughts on 2 things. One was that Sasuke managed to almost get a bell from the Kakashi Hatake, and that somehow Naruto was stronger than him. Seeing the silence that was taking over the room, Anko stepped up. Team 8 also passes, Hokage-sama. The third nodded and Asuma stepped forward. Well, my test was a little different than yours, Kakashi. I wasted them to capture me. But Naruto has something that I never would have expected. Somehow, looking at his father before looking at the whole room, Naruto has the Mokuton. There it was. Everyone understood why Naruto was so strong and able to keep up with Sasuke. He had a legendary Kekkai Genkai himself. The Sandaime, who was still smoking his pipe, nodded. Yes, we have known for a while. Some and Bu, myself, both of my students, and young Sasuke-kun have known about his Mokuton for some time now. But since he just now has the appropriate control over it, he was just now able to show it to everyone else. The Hokage originally wasn't going to let anyone know until it was absolutely necessary. But why be afraid of what the other countries would do if one of their shinobi was strong? They would have to get through the whole village before someone could get to Naruto. The rest of the Jonin nodded. It wouldn't be right to tell the rest of the village and risk danger before you could control something. Now that we have the teams that have passed, you're all dismissed. Hiruzen waited for all of the Jonin to leave before sighing. A smirk grew on his face. Man, I thought that meeting would never end. Now where were we, my precious? Hiruzen giggled to himself before taking out his copy of Ika Paradise. Konoha Hospital. Thank you for the help, Naruto-sama. A dark-haired civilian said to Naruto. Naruto just waved her off. It's my job and you don't have to call me that, just Naruto would be fine, Nimya-san. Nimya nodded and left. She was worried about a possible broken ankle, but Naruto fixed it up, and all she had was some pain that would go away with the medication. Naruto let out a breath. He was young and a new genin, but the hospital recognized his skill as a medic, so he was given patients back to back. It didn't help that Tsunade was the hospital chief and dared anyone to defy her choice of staff. Very good, Naruto-chan. How about you take a break and get some lunch with me? Tsunade, who was leaning in the doorway, asked while looking at her nephew. Sure, Nate, how about some dango? Tsunade smiled and led them out. Dango's shop. After they ordered, they sat down at one of the tables. You have been coming very well in your medical ninjutsu. I think it is time for you to start learning more advanced techniques. Tsunade wanted to eventually give Naruto the slug contract since he has the chakra levels to summon them and the control to use the remote healing. She would have gave it to Shizen, but Apprentice didn't have the reserves to summon the larger slugs and wouldn't have been able to sustain the jutsu for too long. That would be cool, but I have missions and team training now, so I don't think I will have that much time to focus on my medical ninjutsu. Between team training and missions, not to mention learning all the jutsu in the scroll and mastering his Kekkai Genkai. He just didn't have a way to do it all at once. Tsunade frowned. This is what she was worried about when Naruto got that scroll. I know that you want to learn from the scroll. But I don't want you to neglect your medical training, okay? You have a lot of potential for medical ninjutsu, so please at least read the books I give you so you can progress. She couldn't force him to train what she wanted, but she wouldn't let him completely stop training his medical ninjutsu if she could help it. Don't worry, Nade. I fully intend to continue my training. Plus I need to up my control if I want to progress much further. Tsunade nodded. Along with that, the higher level jutsu she would teach Naruto required perfect control. They got their dango and started to eat before Tsunade decided to change the subject. So Naruto-chan, are there any girls you like? Naruto sucked in too much air and started to choke on his food for a few seconds after banging on his chest. Tsunade watched all this and had a wide grin at Naruto's blush after he was done. No, Nate, I don't have any crushes right now. I am more focused on my training, replied Naruto with a serious expression. He didn't want there to be any confusion about what he just said. Oh, and what about that blonde on your team, the Yamanaka? Tsunade knew that they went to lunch together. Maybe Naruto was too shy to admit anything. Shanking his head with a frown, no, I don't like Ino. She's a fangirl and they're annoying. If she starts to take this stuff more seriously then maybe, but for now it's a solid no. Shrugging off his answer, she hated fangirls too. They continued to eat their food talking about random stuff to pass the time. Uchiha compound. Sasuke was training his katan. He was using one of the higher manipulations exercises. He was sitting in front of a fire and running chakra into it to make the flames increase or decrease in size. This was an advanced manipulation of katan. He once saw Itachi doing this during the winter when no. That man isn't here, he won't think about him. I need to test my affinity the next chance I get. The Uchiha have hundreds of jutsu ranging each element, and it would be a waste to not learn most of them. Sasuke was thinking about how he could pull ahead of Naruto. The Senju has 3 elements and medical ninjutsu on top of his amazing taijutsu. Sasuke needed something more than just the Sharingan, otherwise he wouldn't be able to overtake Naruto. He has katan, solid taijutsu, 2 Tomo Sharingan and advanced shuriken jutsu. That just wasn't enough, he would have to talk to Kakashi about something else. Maybe he could take up a weapon. His reach was average for his age, curse his short arms. 2 weeks later, Team 10 has gone on over a dozen missions in the past 2 weeks, and they were finally ready for a C-rank missions. Much to the resident blonde's happiness and the Nara's misfortune. That makes 16 completed D ranks, good job. What will it be this time? The Hokage was about to push another D rank, but they were past the recommended amount of D ranks before they were allowed to have a C rank. So it was up to their sensei on which they would take. Yes, I think that they are ready for a C rank mission now. Asuma was glad he didn't have to watch them do D ranks anymore, they were just awful. Not to mention that his clients didn't like it when he smoked, his girlfriend didn't like it, then only damn time he could smoke was in his father's office. Yes, we have a few available missions. Yes, this one will do fine, it's an escort mission to Kirigakure no Sato. We have 2 Chunin here that were carrying a message from the new Mizukage to me and I want you to escort them to Kiri. Asuma and the team nodded before leaving to get ready. Main gate. The 2 Chunin were waiting at the gate for their escorts. The smaller and younger one was actually the one in charge. His name was Chojuro, who was a teenage roughly 14 years old with glasses on. He was in a blue shirt with a vest-like holster that had a giant bandage sword strapped to his back and had tan and brown camouflaged pants. The older of the 2 was Rengetsu Hozuki, who was a newly promoted Chunin even though he was 17 years old. He wore a sleeveless white shirt and purple pants. He also had 2 water canteens on his belt. Team 10 arrived and introduced themselves. Well, Chojuro-san, when do you want to get back? Asuma was curious as to why a nervous kid was using one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Mist's legendary swords. We should get there as 3 days time, Asuma-san. Chojuro berated himself in his head. He was working to remove his stutter, but it would go away. He just didn't have the confidence in himself, even though Mizukage-sama always told him how great he was. Nodding, Asuma looked at his team. Okay, I will set the pace, so keep up with me. We'll be going in the diamond formation until I say otherwise, got it? After a response of 3 yes, sensei. They started off on their journey. Hokage's office. Sasuke wasn't even paying attention now that he was entering the Hokage's office. He knew what would happen. They would get some bullshit mission that wasn't even worth doing. He was more interested in going over what he learned in the past 2 weeks. He talked with Kakashi and he learned that he had a right-on affinity, which was awesome considering that right-on beats Doton and can overcome Sway-ton. He wasn't sure how it would do against Wood, but he would certainly try. In addition to learning to control his right-on, he started to learn the basics of Kenjutsu. Kakashi said that with a Sharingan that he would be lethal with a sword. He was most pleased with his progress. So you will be given the mission to escort a bridge builder to Nami no Kuni. Sasuke was brought out of his thoughts when he heard the Hokage say that. It didn't sound like some irrelevant D rank, that sounded like a real mission. He found himself even more pleased. The only thing that could make this even better was if that smoking hot sensei for Team 8 would be coming along. Unfortunately, with all the things I heard about the country of Nami, I will have to send Team 8 along with you since I'm not sure if the bridge builder is being truthful. Sasuke was biting his cheek to keep back a smile, but that didn't stop the small, slightly perverted giggle from escaping him. Curse his lack of control, it was all that women fault for wearing barely any clothes. That figure no, he shook his head to rid himself of those thoughts. Kakashi, who was standing next to Sasuke, heard the giggle, and could see that his young prodigy was fighting off a smile. Kakashi suddenly found that he was more proud than he has ever been. If his prude of a student was actually lusting after someone, then he would wholeheartedly embrace his young student. Kakashi and Sasuke were brought out of their thoughts when the door opened, and in walked Team 8. Wanting to know who on the team Sasuke was thinking about, he watched his student's reaction, and he wasn't disappointed. Sasuke was practically drooling over Anko. He managed to fight off any outward expression, but those eyes of his were the Sharingan, and he was staring at Anko with a hungry expression. Oh my god! To think that Sasuke has a thing for Anko. Oh well, maybe he has it in him to tame the snake. Kakashi giggled perversely at that, since after Sasuke tamed Anko she would tame his snake. He made a mental note to write into Jiraiya's fan mail address to see if he could use that in his next book. Reporting for duty, Hokage-sama. Enko said in her professional voice. She was kind of curious as to why Team 7 was there but brushed it off. The Hokage explained the mission and they all went their separate ways to prepare for the mission to Nami no Kuni. Mizu no Kuni, Team 10 and the 2 Kiri ninja were all in formation heading towards Kiri. The 3 genin were in front of the 2 Kiri shinobi and Asuma was behind them. For the past 2 days nothing has happened. Chojuro informed the Konoha shinobi that most of the potential danger would be inside of Mizu no Kuni, since there were some of the Yondaime Mizukage's followers still around. Naruto and the Hozuki member Rengetsu managed to strike up an interesting conversation about the Hozuki's bloodline. So you're telling me that you can turn into water? What would happen if it were to dry up while you're in that form or if you ran out of chakra? Naruto asked. This is seriously bothering him. Could this guy be whipped up with a towel? Rengetsu sighed and shook his head. I can't dry up, I can turn back to my normal form at almost an instant. Not to mention, my water form takes chakra to keep going, so once I run out of chakra I automatically turn back to normal. Explained Rengetsu. He would have been irritated but he got these questions quite frequently. Asuma tuned out the conversation and focused on the surroundings for a moment. He let out an irritated grunt. He was careless. They were completely surrounded. By Asuma's count, there were 6 shinobi. He looked over his team and thought over his options. Naruto can handle himself against Chunin level opponents. Shikamaru could take on one by himself if they weren't too strong, then he has Ino. Asuma sighed. He doesn't think Ino could take a Chunin level shinobi on by herself. Her skills were more for support, not head-on assault. Asuma thought over his options. Naruto would have to do. Asuma picked up the pace to get within hearing distance of his team. Listen up. Asuma said loud enough for only his team and the 2 Kiri shinobi to hear. We're surrounded, 6 in total, unknown skill levels. I will take the 2 directly behind us. Shikamaru, Ino, you 2 will take the one to our left. Naruto, yours is to the right. Asuma addressed his team, then he looked to the Kiri nin. Can I count on you 2 to get the 2 directly in front of us? Asked Asuma. Both Chojuro and Rengetsu nodded in an affirmative. Naruto took in a breath. This was going to be his first real combat experience. His heart rate was starting to climb to an incredible level. It was exhilarating. He hoped that Shikamaru and Ino will be alright. He didn't like to think this way, but he knew that he was much stronger than the both of them. He'll take his opponent out as fast as he possibly could, then back up his teammates. Not the best plan, but it was the best he could come up with at the moment. Shikamaru sighed. He was going to have to get serious. He didn't have near enough information to make a real plan, but his main objective was to keep guard over Ino. Ino herself started to get a little nervous. This was real combat, real shinobi, trying to kill them. It was a lot to take in. She shook her head. She couldn't freeze up. She needed to make sure that she had a level head to support Shikamaru. Asuma smirked at the rampant emotions crossing over his students' faces. They were clearly working themselves up. Asuma may not be a censor in any form of the word, but the shinobi surrounding them aren't even hiding their ki or their chakra presences. And from what Asuma could tell, they weren't higher than mid-Chunin. All of the thoughts between Team 10 happened in a couple seconds. Asuma suddenly stopped and charged the 2 shinobi behind them. The 2 ninja that Asuma is charging tensed. They thought that they were hidden quite well. Both look at each other then nod. The 2 Kiri shinobi jump out and charge Asuma. Both are armed with katanas. Asuma took out his chakra blades and body flickered at the 2 of them. The Kiri shinobi couldn't even follow Asuma's movements. Only out of reflex did they manage to bring up their swords to block the chakra blades. Both of them froze and turned around. Asuma was putting away his chakra blades and lighting a cigarette. You 2 must not be familiar with futon-enhanced chakra blades. Well, they're really sharp. Right as Asuma said that, the 2 shinobi's swords fell apart, and they both fell to the ground with huge gashes in their chests. Asuma walked over to the 2 of them and slits their throats. No use interrogating. They were obviously trying to kill anyone that was for the new Kiri. Naruto was having a little more trouble with his opponent. Naruto was being pushed on the defense without any openings to exploit. He ducked under a slash and manages to pull out a kunai. The 2 of them stared at one another trying to find any openings in each other's stances. The Kiri shinobi engaged once again. Naruto, however, now has a weapon to block the sword. When the Kiri nin went in for a stab, Naruto parried the stab and kicked the Kiri nin in the wrist, making him drop the sword. Naruto used this moment to jump back and make the snake seal. Wood burst up from the ground and without thinking, Naruto sent the incredibly deadly tentacles of wood at his opponent. The Kiri shinobi managed to dodge the first tentacle of wood but not the other 5. He was pierced all over his body, 2 managing to hit a vital point. The Kiri shinobi died almost instantly. Naruto froze. Not only was this his first real combat experience, but he just took his first life. Naruto's hand started to shake. He didn't mean for to kill him, only to bind him. Shikamaru and Ino were both trying to handle their opponent. Ino was peppering the guy with kunai at a distance while Shikamaru was using his Kageme no Jutsu, shadow imitation technique, to move the Kiri nin into position. The Kiri nin was doing a good job of avoiding all of Ino's kunai, which was just what Shikamaru planned on. In the middle of a treeless area there weren't many shadows, so Ino was making some. Shikamaru was waiting for the perfect moment, Ino started to group more kunai together. The Kirinin dodged a kunai and rushed in to attack the Konoha genin. Shikamaru linked his jutsu with the shadows from the many kunai and used them as anchoring points for different shadow tendrils. The Kirinin was held by over a dozen shadow streams, all originating from a different kunai. The shadow user smirked. Kage main no jutsu, shadow imitation technique, complete, said Shikamaru. Ino let out a breath. That was nerve-wracking. She didn't want to think about having to fight the Kirinin without Shikamaru. She's going to up her training when she got back. Other than the mind jutsu her father taught her and mediocre taijutsu, she had nothing else. Let's go meet up with Asuma-sensei and Naruto-kun, said Ino, hoping to put the matter to rest. Right as Ino said that, Naruto landed right next to them. He didn't look too good, but he was uninjured. Naruto looked at the captured Kirinin with a blank face. Release your jutsu, Shikamaru, ordered Naruto. Shikamaru raised his eyebrows. He had an idea of what was going on with Naruto. After all, he didn't have a prisoner. No, I can handle it, Shikamaru said. He went through 2 more seals and activated his Kaige, Kubishibari no Jutsu, shadow neck-binding technique, and snapped the Kirinin's neck. Shikamaru looked away from the dead ninja. His father prepared him for the eventuality of killing in the field, but actually doing it felt strange. Shika, is he did you? Ino asked nervously. Yes he is, and yes he did, Ino, Asuma said as he walked up to his team. Chojuro and Renjetsu gave the Konoha team privacy to talk for a minute. They both remember their first kills after all. Every shinobi has to go through this at one point in their career, usually on their first or second C-rank mission. That's why we wait to give them to fresh teams. The Jonin have to approve their team's ability to cope. Once a Jonin, or me in this case, feels that the whole team is ready, we ask for a C-rank, and I must say that you all did better than I hoped. Naruto, Shikamaru, if you have anything you want to talk about, I will be here. Ino, we aren't out of this yet, so keep your guard up. You might have to take your first life yourself before this is over, Asuma said with the best comforting tone he could while at the same time being serious. Naruto and Shikamaru both nodded absently. They were prepared for this, so it didn't hit as hard as it could. Ino, on the other hand, was prepared by her father but never really paid attention during his long lectures. Right now she wished she had. If you're all fine, we're going to keep moving, said Asuma. Right as Asuma said that, the 2 Kiri shinobi walked over. Renjetsu looked like he was about to explode from excitement, and Chojuro literally looked the same as he did from before the fight. Renjetsu had a monster smirk on his face and walked up to Naruto. That jutsu, that's the legendary Mokutan. I want to spar with you once we get to Kiri. Hi. Renjetsu was about to go off on a long tangent about legendary fights with Naruto, but Chojuro cut him off. We don't have tea time for this. Mizukage-sama is waiting. Let's go, ordered Chojuro, but in his head he was resizing up the blonde Senju. Mizukage-sama will want to hear about this. Asuma nodded and he motioned for his team to get back into formation so they could proceed to Kirigakyu no Sato. Naruto started running with his team. Man, this mission escalated quickly. I wonder what Sasuke's up to. If I remember correctly, he is on a C-rank with Team 8 right now, wondered Naruto. Nami no Kuni, Team 7 and 8 were currently locked in a vicious struggle against 2 missing nin. Kakashi and Anko were fighting against the demon of the mist Zabuza Momochi, while Sasuke was fighting against Zabuza's companion. He was hiding from all of them until Hinata pointed out that someone was watching after looking around with her Byakugan. Sasuke was then ordered to engage the hiding shinobi with Shino as backup. Right now he's locked in a taijutsu bout with the masked shinobi. Sasuke ducked under a kick and used the opportunity to unsheath his Chikudo and tried to stab the masked nin in the heart. The masked ninja jumped back and threw dozens of Saban at Sasuke, who deflected them all easily with the help of his Sharingan. You're very impressive, but I will say that without those eyes of yours you wouldn't be able to keep up. My name is Haku, by the way. If we are to continue this fight, I would like to know your name as well. Uchiha, said the now named Haku. Sasuke Uchiha. Now we've wasted enough time talking, said Sasuke. He used a one-handed ram's seal and his sword started to glow and spark all over. It wasn't the most refined right-hand manipulation, but it will be more than enough to deal with Haku. Sasuke charged in with a body flicker. Haku avoided the Uchiha's right-hand enhanced sword and tried to turn him into a pincushion. Even with the Sharingan, Sasuke was hard-pressed to deflect all of the Senbon coming at him. Using the second that Sasuke was distracted, Haku flared most of his chakra and used an unusual hand seal. The area around them dropped in temperature and all around Sasuke, mirrors made of ice formed making a dome. Haku stepped into one of the mirrors and his body was displayed on each mirror. This is over. Nobody has ever escaped my jutsu, not even Zabuza-sama. I am truly sorry about what I have to do, said Haku right before he started to unleash a seemingly endless barrage of Senbon at insane speeds. Sasuke only focused on the Senbon that were aimed at his vitals, the other ones he was forced to take. Haku stopped the barrage once Sasuke fell to one knee. Sasuke was panting from the exertion and pulled out the needles in his legs, then flashed through seals for a jutsu ending in the tiger seal. Sasuke unleashed his Katan, Ryuka no Jutsu, fire release, dragon fire jutsu, towards the mirror he's facing. When the steam cleared, the mirror that Sasuke used his Katan jutsu on was barely melted. That's just not fair, thought Sasuke. right as he thought that he was attacked by hundreds of Saban. Sasuke was able to follow Haku's movements but was unable to counter-attack. When Haku's thousand-needle barrage ended, Sasuke noticed a small bug on his sword. Looking closer, Sasuke saw several bugs on his sword, and with his Sharingan he could see bugs crawling on all of the mirrors. Sasuke smirked. Well, Haku, it seems that this is the end. Sasuke said. Yes, and I am truly sorry for having to kill you, said Haku. Sasuke's sword bursted with right chakra and he flickered toward the mirror holding the real Haku. As the blade approached, Haku shook his head at the tactic. His master always tried that but it never worked for him. What made the Uchiha think that it would work for him? Right as those thoughts went through the ice user's mind, Sasuke stabbed Haku right in the chest right through the ice mirror. Haku's eyes widened. How on earth did the Uchiha manage to do what Zabuza never could? If you're wondering how, right over there is someone who's backing me up. He specializes in draining chakra and I suspect that he has been doing it the whole time. But unlike you, I'm not truly sorry for this, Sasuke said as he removed his sword from the now dead Haku's chest. I apologize at how long it took to drain enough chakra from the mirrors. Each had a large amount of chakra that the few number of beetles were hard-pressed to drain in a timely fashion, said Shino in his usual flat voice. It's fine, we handled it, Sasuke said while wiping his sword off. Neither commented on the fact that Sasuke just killed someone. The Aburame were taught from a very young age to control their emotions, and one of Sasuke's life goals was to kill his big brother, so he's comfortable with killing. We should return to Anko-sensei and Kakashi Taicho, said Shino. Sasuke wordlessly nodded and started to walk back to the clearing where the rest of the group was fighting. Zabuza wasn't having a good time. He's quite sure that he was poisoned by the snake lady and the copy ninja would have been enough on his own without blurry vision. Kakashi kicked Zabuza toward the water. Right as Zabuza landed, Kakashi saw Sasuke and Shino return from where they were fighting Zabuza's partner. Kakashi let out a breath that he didn't know he was holding. He was glad that both of them were okay. Haku, Zabuza's companion, is dead, Anko-sensei, droned Shino. He merely pushed up his sunglasses as he observed the surrounding reactions to his report. The surrounding genin all looked at Shino and Sasuke with wide eyes. Anko turned to them with a smile. Good job, you two. Kakashi and I are about to wrap this up. Right, Kakashi? Asked Anko, already knowing the answer. Kakashi flashed through 3 seals and chakra condensed around his right hand. Kakashi has been waiting for Anko's poison to take enough of an effect to slow down Zabuza so that Kakashi could kill him without much effort. He could hit a moving target easily, but he didn't want to waste too much chakra on a missed shot. Kakashi's signature jutsu Chidori, quite impressive to experience in person rather than the stories that guy spouts all the time, thought Anko. She's heard of the jutsu that just lighting but always chalked the claim up to guy's nonsense. But being in the presence of the jutsu made her a little more convinced of its ability. All the genin looked on in awe at the condensed lightning. None of them have felt such a strong jutsu. Sasuke smirked to himself. With his eyes active, he copied the jutsu. That jutsu will be more than helpful in his lifelong mission of beating that blonde-haired Senju's face in. He meant killing Itachi. Yeah, that was his lifelong mission, killing Itachi. With speed that the genin couldn't follow, and that was a blur to even the Sharingan eyes of Sasuke, Kakashi charges forward and pierced Zabuza in the chest with his jutsu. Zabuza let out a pained groan as his blood shot out his back onto the ground. Kakashi's nose twitched in disgust. Having his arm in someone's chest was nasty business. Kakashi pulled his arm from Zabuza's chest and threw him into the lake they were standing on. Anko walked over and sealed Kibikirabucho into a scroll. It should be worth quite the fortune to Kiri. Kakashi flickered over to the genin and to Zuna. Okay everyone, let's continue on. I doubt that we will have any more missing nin attacking us. Sasuke, I would like to talk to you for a moment, Kakashi said to everyone before leading Sasuke away from the group. I know you most likely copied my Chiori. When we get back to the village I will start training you to use it. Don't try to use it until I give you the training for it, instructed Kakashi. He isn't mad that Sasuke copied his jutsu. That would be incredibly hypocritical since Kakashi has copied hundreds of jutsu himself. Sasuke nodded and followed Kakashi back to the others. He wondered what Naruto was doing right now. He remembered hearing that Naruto got a C-rank mission himself. Maybe they could have a spar when they got back to the village after their missions. Kirigakure no Sato, Mizuki's office. The Mizukage was a young woman by the name of Mei Terumi. She's the holder of 2 Kekkai Genkai, the Yotan and Futon. She was the leader of the Bloodline rebels during the Kiri Civil War and took up the mantle of Mizukage when they managed to kill Yagura. Mei was a very beautiful woman, long auburn hair, and in a blue dress that showed off a generous amount of cleavage. Thank you for escorting my men back, Konoha Shinobi. Tell Hokage Dano that I'll be accepting his offer next time and the courtesy is extended to him as well, said Mei with a smile. Naruto and Asuma were both pushing back the drool that wants to escape their mouths at the sight of the gorgeous Mizukage. Asuma was in a committed relationship with Kurenai, but the Mizukage was easily one of the most beautiful women he's ever met. Naruto just enjoyed looking at the red-headed village leader. She's a definite 10. Both teacher and student thought at the same time. Asuma cleared his throat. If that is all, Mizukage-sama, my team and I will be returning to Konoha, said Asuma. Mei smiled while looking over the team. she didn't see anything special about the dark-haired boy or the girl. But the blonde boy bears a striking resemblance to Minato Namikaze. She would have to look into this further, especially since he said his name is Naruto Senju. The only Senju around was Tsunade. That would be quite interesting if the legendary 4th Hokage and Slug Sannin had a child. He would be quite the monster. I believe that is everything, Mei said, dismissing them. With one last glance to Mei, the Konoha shinobi left the Mizuki's office. As Team 10 was walking out of the village, Ino looked at her team with a frown. She isn't that great. Stop daydreaming, Ino yelled. She's tired of seeing her team drool over the Mizuki, who Ino didn't even think was all that great. Shikamaru looked at Ino with a sly smirk. I didn't take you for being the jealous type, he said before Ino clobbered him over the head with a growl. Naruto and Asuma's sweat dropped while watching Ino scream Shikamaru's ear off. With that, Team 10 started their 3-day journey back to Konoha. Nami no Kuni. Sasuke was currently training his water walking skills under the bridge that the rest of his team was on top of guarding. So far, while they have been in Nami, nothing has happened. No attacks, nothing. Kakashi and Anko have been talking about something quietly since they got to the bridge builder's house, but Sasuke wasn't interested in listening to them. Right now Sasuke was just wondering why they were still there. The mission was to protect Tazuna on the way to Nami, not guard him while he finished his bridge. Sasuke wanted to go back to the village, train, practice his new Chidori and spar with Naruto. Kakashi refused to give Sasuke the exercises for mastering the jutsu until they got back to the village, so he was forced to work on water walking. Sasuke, now more than ever, was cursing his luck for the team he was a part of, since either of them were very good sparring partners. Choji didn't train outside of his clan other than chakra control. Sakura, well, he wasn't sure if she had trained since she received her headband. Both of them are seriously mediocre. He couldn't wait until he was a Chunin and he could leave the team. Sasuke was brought out of his thoughts when he heard a bunch of yelling and commotion from atop the bridge. Using the tree walking exercise to run up the bridge, he saw that the businessman, whose name he couldn't quite remember, has gathered a small bandit army to kill them. What a foolish fool. Sasuke walked up and took a position right next to Kakashi. The man didn't look any different than he did when they met for team training. The guy was unflappable. If he signals his army to attack, myself and Anko will lead the charge. Sasuke, Kiba and Choji will be right behind. Shino will be support while Hinata and Sakura guard the bridge builder, ordered Kakashi. From what Anko has told him about Hinata, she's much too timid to handle killing this many people, bandits or otherwise. Sakura was either that weak or timid. He just doubts that she would be any use on the front lines or that she's particularly ready to kill yet. Gato smirked at the 8 ninja guarding the bridge builder. They didn't stand a chance against 60 bandits. Gato took his cigar out of his mouth. Kill them all, boys. Leave the purple-haired one alive. She's much too pretty to die here, ordered Gato while eyeing the purple-haired women lustfully. Sasuke took a step forward in the direction of Anko. He will not allow her to be taken. She's much too hot for that. Kakashi noticed what Sasuke was doing and smirked. He'll definitely tell Anko about Sasuke's little crush after this mission if she didn't notice herself. As the bandits charged forward, so did the Konoha shinobi. Anko and Kakashi made short work of the bandits. Sasuke, Kiba and Choji were slicing, drilling and crushing their opponents without hesitation, much to the latter's shock at his own mercilessness. Shino was using his bugs to drain their chakra. They may not be shinobi, but everything had chakra. Choji was starting to feel a little lightheaded from all the killing. He didn't even like to hurt anyone, but here he was, killing bandits. Sasuke didn't particularly care that he was killing them. They stood in his way. They were bandits, and they wanted to do unspeakable things to Anko. They will all die. Kiba and Akamaru were using their Getsuga, Fang passing Fang, to take apart the enemy. In the span of roughly 3 minutes, Gato watched his entire army get reduced to nothing. Now he was surrounded by 6 ninja, all looking at him like he was some kind of bad person. What did he ever do to these people? He was just a humble businessman that loved children. If you let me, I'll live. I can give you anything you want. Money, you name it. It's yours. All off the shinobi look on with a lack of empathy. They have heard what this tyrant has done to this country. Now when faced with the consequences, he was groveling at their feet. Pathetic. Sasuke walked forward with his sword. There's one thing you can give us, said Sasuke with his Sharingan activated. Gato's eyes widened. He let out a breath and stood up. I forgot that you ninja all work for a price. Tell me, what's your price? Asked a now confident Gato. They liked money and he had a little more than a shit ton of it. Sasuke plunged his sword into Gato's chest without hesitation. Your life, Sasuke said coolly. After all the killing they just did, nobody was surprised that Sasuke killed Gato. Anko walked up behind Sasuke and pressed herself into his back. Her curvy body pressed completely into him, and she rubbed herself on him a few times for good measure. I gotta say, that was quite hot. If you were a little older, I would make you deal with the now soaking situation I have going on right now, Anko whispered into Sasuke's ear. Sasuke's nose bursted with blood before he passed out with a grin on his face. Kakashi giggled next to them. With chakra-enhanced hearing, he managed to hear everything Anko just said. He made a mental note to write everything down so he could send it to Jiraiya. He could see it now. Ika Ika Hibiheim. Kakashi bent down to pick up his student. Well, now that that problem is dealt with, I think that we can rest easy. Unless this country has another tyrant hiding in the woodwork," said Kakashi with a slight chuckle. Kanahigaku no Sato, Hokage's office. Team 10 just finished giving their report of their C-rank mission. Hiruzen was nodding over what he was told and let out the smoke in his lungs in the form of a ring. "Well done, Team 10, you're dismissed. Asuma, stay for a moment," ordered the Sandaime. After the genin left, Hiruzen put down his pipe. "In about 1 month the Chunin exams are going to be held here. I want Naruto to compete," Hiruzen said, not beating around the bush whatsoever. Asuma frowned. "It's the Jonin's choice whether or not to include his genin in the Chunin exam," said Asuma, peeved that he was being ordered to put his genin into the Chunin exams barely 3 months out of the academy. "We both know that Naruto's more than strong enough. I know that he's pushing mid to even high Chunin. If it makes you feel any better, I'm going to tell Kakashi the same thing for Sasuke. Both Naruto and Sasuke will show that Konoha's founding clans are still very strong and very much a threat," explained Hiruzen. It may sound like too much, but the village's reputation was said to be the strongest of the 5, but right now he doubted that they could beat Kumo as they were. So he needed to make sure their image was top-notch. Asuma didn't like it, but when it came down to it his dad was the boss. "Hi Tusan, I'll start preparing them. If that is all." Hiruzen waved his son off. Hiruzen looked over the applicants for the upcoming Chunin exam. Suna was sending a team which was comprised of the Yondaime Kazekage's children, one of whom was their Jinchuriki. It might be time for Tenzo to teach Naruto that jutsu. Senju compound. Naruto burst into his home and ran into the kitchen to get some food. When he entered the kitchen he was greeted by the sight of his Obasan drinking sake while reading a very peculiar orange book with a blush. Wow Obasan. I never took you for the hypocritical type," Naruto said, who was reading certified porn and was a well-known pervert hater. Tsunade scrambled to put away her book with an embarrassed blush across her cheeks. "Never speak a word of this to anyone, ever, especially to Jiraiya. Lord knows he'll never let it go," said Tsunade while sending a glare at Naruto, which was ineffective with her dazed look. Naruto nodded his head. "I won't say anything, but can I finally see what's in that book? If you can read it, why can't I?" Whined Naruto. He's only ever heard about what was in the book. He wanted to know why it's so popular, and all the stores in the village refused to sell it to him because of his Obasan. "No! You will not read this and become a pervert. I only read this when I'm drunk or almost drunk," said Tsunade. Naruto deadpanned after hearing that. She was always drunk or almost drunk. It was her base setting. "Anyway, how was your mission?" Tsunade asked, both wanting to change the subject and interested to hear how Naruto's first C-rank went. "I had to kill someone," Naruto muttered lowly with his head down. It really hurt him as a medic to have to take a life when he was supposed to be someone who saved them. He felt arms wrap around him and was brought into a hug, not one of the normal suffocating hugs but a tender embrace from his Obasan. Naruto buried his head in the crook of Tsunade's neck. "I know what it feels like to be a medic and take a life. But you are also a shinobi, and that is what you have to do in this line of work," Tsunade said in the most soothing voice she could while rubbing her Naruchan's blonde hair. Naruto let go of the hug and backed up. The mission for the most part was fine. The new Mizukage. Naruto trailed off, his eyes glazing over. Tsunade looked at him curiously as she waited for him to continue. Getting tired of waiting, Tsunade finger flicked Naruto in the forehead, launching him across the room, leaving a Naruto-sized crater in the wall. "Well," Tsunade said, gesturing for him to continue, "she's a definite 10 out of 10, maybe even higher. I can honestly say that she is very Naruto is cut off by a slap to the head. She is very attractive and a strong leader," finished Naruto professionally. Tsunade's eyebrow was twitching but just walked away without another word. Obviously Naruto was back to normal. After Naruto noticed that Tsunade left the room, he headed out to the training area to get in some jutsu practice before nighttime. Hokage's office. Team 7 and 8 just finished giving the report for their mission. Hiruzen was nodding over what he was told and let out the smoke in his lungs in the form of a large ring. "Congratulations on your first C-rank mission completed. All of you are dismissed except for Kakashi," said Hiruzen. Once all of the genin and Enko leave, Hiruzen cleared his throat. "I want you to enter your team, specifically Sasuke, into the Chunin exams," said Hiruzen, already preparing to give the same speech he gave his son. "Okay," Kakashi said, not even bothering to fight it. He was going to do it anyway. Hiruzen raised his eyebrows at the response. He expected a little hesitation at the very least. "The exams will be in a little more than 1 month. Prepare them accordingly," ordered Hiruzen seriously, knowing that Kakashi was lackadaisical when it came to anything other than a mission or reading. Kakashi nodded and left the Hokage's office in a sealless body flicker. Hiruzen looked out his window toward the village that he was sworn to protect and let out a tired sigh. He shouldn't be behind this desk anymore. Minato should still be here overlooking the village and guiding his son. Hopefully he can weather the approaching storm until Naruto was capable of taking the mantle, or he will be forced to put it on one of his students, who have already informed him that neither want the hat. Where did he go wrong with them? One is a mass-murdering psychopath, another was the largest pervert to ever live, and Tsunade didn't want to be Hokage. Hiruzen turned back to his desk and relit his pipe. He started back on his paperwork with a disheartened sigh. With the Chunin exams approaching, there's way more than usual. Week of the Chunin exams, Senju compound. Naruto has been training extra hard for the upcoming exams. Asuma-sensei told his team last week that the Chunin exams were coming up and that they were being entered. Naruto knows he's strong for a genin but doesn't want to leave it up to chance to see whether or not he'd pass. So since he found out he's been working on several new Mokuton jutsu, so far he has defense and binding jutsu, and Naruto wanted some serious offense. After reaching through the scroll, he found several manipulation training exercises. Naruto learned those and decided to make his own jutsu. He can't wait to show it off during the finals. So far he would put all of his skill, sans genjutsu, in the mid-Chunin range. His ninjutsu is the strongest by far though. In Konoha, the only real competition that he knows about will be Sasuke. In their most recent spar, Sasuke came really close to beating him, but the match ended in a draw. Naruto has been thinking about taking up a sword. Sasuke is a natural with one, but he needs to find the right sword to use. He'll think about it more after he's a Chunin. Tsunade told him that he's almost a specialist level for medical ninjutsu. Something about his chakra makes medical ninjutsu really potent and effective. Tsunade suspects that it's related to the Mokuton Kekkei Genkai, since Hashirama possessed incredible healing abilities. So in all, Naruto felt like he couldn't be stopped in the next exam unless a foreign shinobi showed up who was very strong, or Sasuke had some secrets he hasn't shared yet. Uchiha compound. Sasuke hasn't dedicated so much of his time to training alone since right after his family was murdered. After Kakashi told him that they would be in the exams last week, he's been tearing apart his clan's archive for new jutsu regardless of element. So far he's added over a dozen jutsu to his arsenal. However, most weren't that powerful, but he can sure intimidate. His katan is the most developed. He learned an A-rank jutsu from Madara's journals. His is most pleased with the results. Loath as he is to admit it, he is still inferior to Naruto. Mokuton is incredibly hard to get around. Not to mention, when he does get in close, Naruto isn't a pushover in the taijutsu department. Kenjutsu-wise, Sasuke has started, instead of using right-on for his sword, he has taken to channeling pure Chidori through the blade. He can't keep it up forever, but when he uses it, his sword is nigh unstoppable. Sasuke has also put some spare time after his physical workouts to study genjutsu. Itachi is the most powerful genjutsu user on the continent, so if Sasuke wants to stand a chance, he needs to master the art as well. Kakashi has been helping him cast jutsu with his eyes. He would put his skills toward high genin. He just started after all. Overall, no genin in Konoha other than Naruto can touch him. He's excited to dominate in the exam. Day of the exam, Ninja Academy. Naruto, Shikamaru and Ino are currently standing outside of the academy. The test is set to start in the next 20 minutes. Are you two ready? Asked Naruto. He received 2 nods. Grinning, Naruto charges straight into the academy. Both his teammates are right behind him. Going up the stairs, Naruto and Ko see that a large group is gathered around the doors for the exam. After looking at it for a moment, wait, aren't we on the second floor? Oh, I get it. Naruto turns to his teammates. Let's sneak through. No use drawing attention to ourselves like idiots. Drop the henge, losers. We noticed the genjutsu right when we got here, losers. Announced Sasuke. Most started whispering except Naruto, whose sweat dropped at his friend. The two guarding the door looked at each other for a moment before shrugging. Someone would notice sooner or later. Good luck. Hopefully you all won't be killed in the exam. Announced one of the Chunin. Both left, and the gathered genin started whispering amongst each other. Naruto turned to his teammates with a sigh. Let's just go take the test, said Naruto before leading them away. So far Naruto isn't impressed by anyone. He felt a large chakra signature on the 3rd floor, but other than Sasuke nobody sparks any interest. Right as Naruto was about to climb the stairs, he's stopped by a team of genin, a green-clad spandex-wearing genin in particular. The other 2 were staring at him. The girl seemed normal, but the other boy, he seemed angry about something, not to mention a Hyuga. So he probably has the classic stick lodged in his rectum. But he can't judge too much, his best friend has won himself. The green-clad genin steps forward. Please stop. My name is Rock Lee and I challenge you, Naruto Senju, to a one-on-one match to determine if my hard work can overcome your genius. Lee said with a thumbs up. Naruto opens his mouth to respond, but his teammate responds. Lee, enough of this foolishness. The Senju is out of your league, he's more fit to my speed. My name is Niji Hyuga. Niji introduced. Naruto nods. I'm Naruto Senju. This is Shikamaru Nara and Ino Yamanaka. Lee, if you want to fight, wait until the exams. I will gladly fight you, either of you. Challenged Naruto. He needs someone to challenge him. Someone snorted from behind. As if these 2 can keep up with the likes of us, Sasuke said as he walked up with his teammates. Lee got another fire in his eyes at spotting another genius. Niji speaks first. I believe you are pressuring too much, Uchiha. Sneered Niji. The Hyugas and the Uchiha were never on the best terms. Dijitsu rivalry and whatnot. Naruto become tired with the whole thing. Well, you can fight them, Sasuke. If they beat you, I will fight them. You be a good boy now, Naruto said, pulling his teammates away before someone else could say anything. Team 10 entered the classroom and waited in a corner for the exam to start. I see that Team 10 made it to the exams after all, announced Kiba from behind them. Naruto cursed that ankle, thought Team 8 was ready for the exam. Now he has to deal with Kiba. Yes, we did, Kiba. Everyone wants a piece of me, so it took a while to get here. Naruto said without looking at Kiba. He likes pissing off the Inuzuka. The Aburame and Hyuga are standing quietly behind Kiba. Naruto turns to Hinata. Hey Hinata, what can you tell me about Neji? Asked Naruto. Hinata blushes at the attention from Naruto. He is very strong. I think he is the strongest genin other than you and Naruto-kun. Answered Hinata. She mentally berates herself for stuttering. She has been working on her confidence, but talking directly to Naruto is too much for right now. Naruto nods with a serious face, ignoring Kiba's exaggerated exclaims about his strength. Naruto makes a mental note to put the Inuzuka in his place. Either he will or someone else will, but Naruto wants the satisfaction of doing it himself. Sasuke enters the room and silently walks up to Naruto. Naruto looks at him for a moment, and both turn away from their teams. I hope you've improved. So far, other than the Hyuga's team, nobody looks strong enough. Well, that's not true. Someone here has a lot of chakra, and I mean a lot, said Naruto. Sasuke nods. Someone from Suna, I'm sure. I didn't spot anyone either that warrants any worry. Neji was telling me that he is fated to beat both of us. Oh, something. Who listens to that stuff anyway? Said Sasuke. Naruto was about to respond when a silver-haired genin walked up to the group of rookies. You all should keep it down. Everyone here is going to target you since this is your first exam. I'm Kabuto, by the way, announced the silver-haired genin. The fools here aren't that intimidating, said Naruto before letting his chakra flare while looking blankly at the sea of genin. Most started to look away and whisper. Naruto snorts at the lackluster response. He shouldn't be surprised that the genin that are taking years to complete this test are total shit. Sasuke next to him looks equally unimpressed. Be that as it may, ninjas are supposed to be stealthy, right? Kabuto said noncommittally. Kabuto takes out a stack of cards and looks over the rookies. Are any of you curious about the competition? These cards have info on every genin in attendance, asked Kabuto. Naruto snorts and looks away, like he needs any info on the fools who were scared of him after flaring his chakra. Sasuke doesn't really care either. Kabuto looks at the gathered genin with a frown. He expected someone to ask about the competition. So are you done? Asked Sasuke. This guy thinks that he needs to get info to handle these scrubs, as if, I guess you guys are just so strong you don't need help. Good luck, Kabuto said before walking off. Not like he cared either way, he just wanted to make sure the Uchiha passes. Before anyone could say anything else and walk to Jonin, take your seats, the test will begin in a moment, ordered the Jonin. All of the genin did as they were told. The sounding Chunin started passing around paper packets and pencils. My name is Ibiki Marino, and I will be the proctor for this test. You will need to complete the test, get caught cheating 5 times, and not only do you fail but so does your entire team. Now if you have any questions I will be ignoring them. Now begin, ordered Ibiki. Naruto started going through the test. It was very hard, but he managed to finish it to at least give him a pass. Naruto surveyed the room. Most genin have a different technique for cheating or are just smart enough to do the test themselves. After an hour, Ibiki cleared his throat, gathering everyone's attention. Now you have one last question to answer. Failure to answer the quest will not only result in yours and your teammates' failure, but none of you will be able to pass ever. Or you can refuse and take the test next time. Ibiki informed the Chunin wannabes. With Ibiki's stone face and his denial to everyone's claims that he couldn't do that, genin started to crumble and decline taking the test. One by one the genin start quitting. Naruto looks around and sees that both his teammates are going to continue. Naruto sees Sasuke and his team and notices that they are also looking confident. Naruto spots the Hyuga heiress next to him. Surprisingly, he never noticed that she was right next to him. Hinata didn't look the most confident in herself and looks like she was about to quit. Naruto didn't like that. He's seen her fight and has heard from Sasuke that the Hyuga was actually quite strong. Naruto just needs to help her see that. Please Hinata, don't give up. I believe in you. I know you can do it. Naruto whispered to Hinata, the Hyuga heiress who looked like she has been in the sun for 10 straight hours. Naruto doesn't know why she's all red, but she looks more confident now, so Ibiki looked over the remaining genin. There are more than he likes, but enough to let them go. Now for the final question, you pass, announced Ibiki. Naruto blinked for a moment. So it was a test of courage? Ah, whatever, I passed. Though Naruto. Ibiki goes one to explain why everyone passed and took off his bandana. Naruto just focused on the new jutsu he's been trying to make. Naruto is brought out of his thoughts when the door opened and another jonin walked in. Hello, my name is Kurenai Yuhi. Follow me to the next test, Kurenai said before leaving the room. Training ground 44. After arriving to the training ground, Naruto looks around at the surviving genin. The Sand and Oto team are the only ones who stood out aside from the Konoha teams. Naruto froze when he stretched his senses. When he looked over, he locked eyes with a girl from Kusa. She didn't seem out of the ordinary, but Naruto could feel the chakra emanating from the girl. She has more chakra than his Obasan, which isn't good. Naruto looks around for a moment and walks off. None of the surround ninja notice or care that Naruto walked off. Naruto walks behind a tree and sends a burst of chakra into the tree. After a moment, Naruto turns around and 3A and BU are looking directly at him. Naruto nods to a certain Tora operative who nods back. What is the problem, Senju-san? asked Tora. Naruto frowns. The Kusakunoichi, she has more chakra than Tsunade Obasan and is hiding it almost perfectly. I had to really focus to feel it. That can't be good, right? The NBU look towards each other and nod. Tora steps forward. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, Senju-san. Please keep this to yourselves for now until we handle this. Tora said before the NBU just left. Naruto frowns. They just left him with nothing. He has to go out there and potentially fight that monster. Naruto has a lot of chakra, especially for his age, but his Obasan has almost twice as much he does, and a genin with more chakra than that is not to be trifled with. Naruto walks back to the area and joins his team. Shikamaru raised his eyebrow at his teammate's momentary disappearance, but pushes it aside to focus on the test. What do you think we should do, Shikamaru? Asked Naruto. Shikamaru sighed and muttered his favorite word. I think we should run straight for the tower. Either you or Ino will notice some near, and we can take them out on the way. I don't want to stay in the forest longer than we need to, said Shikamaru. Naruto and Ino nodded, simple and straight to the point, just like Team 10 likes. Sounds good, said Naruto while Ino smiled. Kurenai and the Chunin start to pass out the scrolls. When everyone is done, Kurenai presses the red button behind her, and all of the gates open and the genin rush in. Next day, it's not like Naruto thought that they would get through the exam in a few hours, but he expected them to be finished within a few hours. He and Ino haven't felt and chakra signatures around, nor have they just flat out seen anyone. He gets that it's a big forest, but where is everyone? Shikamaru and Ino were both feeling similar to their blonde male teammate. Naruto is about to suggest that they switch tactics when he and Ino both freeze and look to the south. Ino, you felt it too? Asked Naruto. I can feel a team heading towards this way. We should get ready, they will most likely be here in a few minutes, said Ino. Naruto may have sensory abilities, but at the moment they were inferior to Ino's. Shikamaru just nods. His blonde teammates could feel a team approaching, yet all he can feel is tired. But whatever. Naruto and Ko climb up the trees to get into a higher position and await the team. Minutes go by and an older team from AIM arrives. Naruto sends a signal to his teammates to attack. Naruto uses the snake seal, and below the AIM team wood springs up from the ground trying to bind them. While the AIM team is in the air to avoid the wood, they are hit by a large number of kunai courtesy of Ino, and when they fall to the ground all three are trapped by a shadow. Shikamaru smirks. His team has very good teamwork. The AIM team is then grabbed around the necks by branches and is choked out. Naruto starts checking over the bodies and smiles. We got the earth scroll, let's get to the tower, exclaimed Naruto. Shikamaru smiled. He was worried that they would be stuck in this forest the whole time. Now he can go to the tower and sleep in a bed. Perfect. Let's go, Naruto-kun, Shika ordered Ino before jumping away. Naruto shakes his head at Ino's bossiness. She loves being in charge. Whatever, he'll let her have her fun. Both of the male members glance at each other before following their teammate towards the tower. With Team 7, Sasuke listened quietly to Choji and Sakura talk about random things. He doesn't want to admit it, but Sasuke may start to think of these two as his friends. Not like Naruto, but his friends nonetheless. Sasuke hasn't felt any chakra signatures that would be an enemy team. Sasuke is by no means a sensor, but he can pick out a chakra signature better than most non-sensor shinobi. Sasuke is about to say something when he feels a chill go down his spine. Sasuke flashes through seals and uses Katan. Gekido Nami no Guzen Furu, fire release. Roaring wave of majestic fury. This is Sasuke's newest jutsu. It starts as a knee-high wave of flame that then becomes a huge wave of flames. Sakura and Choji look at the high-level fire jutsu with awe and confusion. Why is Sasuke randomly using a jutsu of this level? Before anyone could ask him, a wall of earth raises from the ground and a laugh is heard through the area. My Sasuke-kun. You are certainly stronger than I expected, an amused voice says from behind the wall. A very pale man with an Oto headband and tan clothes with a purple rope bow tie around his waist. Sasuke immediately recognizes his as the snake Sannin Orochimaru. This could be bad. Now I want to test out Sasuke-kun, so you too. Orochimaru makes a hand sign and a powerful gust of wind blows both Sakura and Choji away, and Orochimaru summons a large snake to kill them. Now Sasuke-kun, shall we begin? Taunted Orochimaru. Sasuke growled at the Sannin, and unsheathes his sword and flickers in at the Sannin. Orochimaru takes a kunai out to block the sword, and right as Sasuke was about to hit the Sannin, he channels Chiori through the blade and slices through the kunai and cut Orochimaru in half, causing him to turn into mud. Sasuke is then blindsided by the Sannin, and is on the receiving end of a clearly superior taijutsu user. Sasuke manages to bat away the Sannin thanks to his Sharingan. Sasuke flies through seals and uses Katan, Gokaki no Jutsu, fire release, grand fireball technique. Orochimaru easily dodges and goes back on the offense. Orochimaru decides to test the Uchiha's Kenjutsu. Being a master himself, he wants to see what his future vessel is capable of. Orochimaru starts to engage at a fast pace. Sasuke uses his Sharingan to its full capabilities and keeps up for the most part. Orochimaru's impressed with his future vessel. He's keeping up at a high Chunin level. He decides to go even faster. Sasuke pushes himself to his peak speed and manages to keep up for the most part, but is on the receiving end of a few slashes. Orochimaru reflects a slash from Sasuke and bats him away and holds up his palm. I have seen quite enough, Sasuke-kun. You are very impressive. Had this been wartime where you could gather experience much faster, I have to say you could be at Chunin level already, much like your brother. Praised Orochimaru, who was building chakra for a jutsu discreetly. Sasuke used this moment to take a breather. He hasn't ever had to go that strong for that long. Usually his fights with Naruto don't last this long, either they mutually give up or Naruto wins. Not to mention he hasn't managed to get a serious hit in. I want to extend you an offer, Sasuke-kun, an offer of power. Join me and you can become even more powerful than not only your brother, but even your legendary ancestor Madara Uchiha. Only through my teachings can you hope to achieve this level. You can't believe that training with the Senju and Hokage that you can become strong enough. I will leave you with this gift. You will search me out for power and I will give it to you without qualm," said Orochimaru. Sasuke stayed quiet through the whole speech. He would be lying if he didn't agree with the Sannin. He needs someone stronger to train him if he wants to stand against his brother. Sasuke couldn't avoid Orochimaru, who extended his neck and bit Sasuke on the neck and left a seal. "Sasuke Kyuin," was the last thing Sasuke heard before he blacked from the pain. Sakura and Choji grabbed their teammate and moved to a new area. They need to look over Sasuke before they go for a scroll. Training Ground 44, Central Tower. Team 10 arrived the tower and were given a speech about being a Chunin and balancing knowledge and power. Naruto just absorbed it and went to eat. Ino went to take a shower and Shikamaru went to take a nap. Naruto noticed that the only team that's made it to the tower is the team from Suna, the one that makes Naruto feel weird. Something about the redhead puts Naruto on edge. Fifth day, all of the genin who passed the second test arrived to the arena. Naruto noticed that an Odo team, the Suna team, an older Konoha team, and the Rookie 9. Naruto is impressed that Team 8 passed. Sasuke is strong enough to make sure his team passes, but who on Team 8 kept them moving forward? Probably Shino. Kurenai steps forward. "Congratulations on passing the second test and showing your skills, but there are too many of you and we need a preliminary tournament before we proceed." That was met with outrage from a select few of genin, mostly Kiba. Hate stepped forward and settled down the room. "Yes, this is for real. My name is Gecko Hate and I will be the proctor for the preliminary matches. Now you names would be on the screen behind me and the two people called with fight. The winner goes to the finals," said Hate. The first names were on the screen: Sasuke Uchiha vs Yoroi Akato. The rest of the room went to the viewing area. As Naruto passed Sasuke, he noticed that he was clenching his shoulder in pain. He made a note to ask about it later. Hate signaled for the match to start. Sasuke didn't move, opting to stay on the defense. Yoro rushed him without hesitation. Right as he was about to punch Sasuke, his hand started to glow, and he grabbed a hold of Sasuke's arm. Sasuke was surprised by the tactic but understood as he started to feel his chakra draining. Sasuke decided to end the fight and punched Yoroi in the gut and elbowed him in the back of the neck. It wasn't very exciting, but Sasuke wasn't trying to impress. "Winner Sasuke Uchiha," announced Hate, which was met with clapping and Sakura's loud cheers. As the board started to spin, Sasuke is taken by Kakashi to deal with his seal. Naruto noticed this as well and frowned. What the hell is going on? The board stopped. Temari vs Tenten. Team Guy's resident taijutsu user's cheers could be heard for miles as Tenten takes the floor. Temari has a mean smirk on her face and eyes Tenten. "Hopefully you can entertain me for a little while," taunted Temari. Tenten just frowned and pulled out her scroll. Hate signaled for the start, and Tenten jumped into the air and launched a hailstorm of weapons towards Temari. All of the weapons change directions and miss. Everyone who knows Tenten looks on with shock. She never misses. "Looks like I won this match if that's all you can do," commented Temari. Her only noticeable change was that her fan was slightly open and a purple circle is showing on it. Tenten growled and uses her best move, the Sashoryu, Twin Rising Dragons. Tenten releases a ridiculous amount of weapons at Temari, who unleashes a powerful gust of wind, offsetting all of the weapons. Tenten didn't let that bother he, as she has all of the weapons attached to ninja wire and tried to swing them at Temari. Temari backflips and blows all the weapons away and uses Kamaitachi no Jutsu, Sickle Weasel technique, on Tenten, who is midair. Tenten is on the receiving end of a tornado of razor winds. She falls to the ground unconscious. Guy catches his student before she can land on the floor. "If you were to face any other genin, I think you would have won or put up a much better fight, Tenten-chan. But this girl was your worst opponent," thought Guy. Naruto frowned at the match. It could have been much better if either were facing an opponent that would make a better match, not a horribly uneven match. Oh well, the life as a ninja is never fair. The screen flashed names: Sakura Haruno vs Ino Yamanaka. Naruto and Shikamaru look at Ino with a worried gaze. Naruto walks forward towards his female teammate. "Ino, don't worry, okay? I know you can do it," encouraged Naruto with a smile. Shikamaru was about to say something but is silenced by Asuma. When he looked at his sensei, he had a small smile on his face. Ino didn't look away from the names until she heard Naruto. "Thanks, Naruto-kun. If I win, would you want to get some more ramen afterwards?" asked the hopeful Ino. Naruto smiled and nodded, hoping that it will give her some motivation. Ino gained a determined look and went to the floor and met her childhood friend. "Let's do this, Ino pig. I won't fight you over Sasuke-kun. I'm not some childish girl anymore," announced Sakura. Ino raised an eyebrow in confusion. "Fight over Sasuke? Did Sakura still think that she still chased after Sasuke? Okay, billboard brow. Let's just do this, okay. Ino replied. Ino charged in to engage Sakura with taijutsu. Ino went in with all of her speed, going for a kick. Sakura ducked under the kick and went for a 3-punch combo. Ino leaned out of the way of the first punch, blocked the second, and redirected the third before kneeing Sakura and spin-kicking Sakura, making her tumble away. Naruto smiles at Ino. Her taijutsu has really improved since becoming a genin. Kakashi arrives in a body flicker with Sasuke, who looked half asleep. Asuma fills in Kakashi on what happened. Sasuke walks over to Naruto to see what happened. You didn't miss much, our girls only just started fighting, said Naruto, to which Sasuke snorted. His girl? As if Sakura is the last girl he would want. He slightly shivers. Fangirls always bothered him. Back in the fight, both Ino and Sakura are trading blows with great taijutsu form but average speed. Sakura would land a punch but would be kicked by Ino. Both are arguably even. Naruto turns to Sasuke with a smirk. I bet Ino can beat Sakura. Challenged Naruto. Sasuke, not physically capable to refuse a challenge from Naruto, turns to the Senju. You're on Senju, 10,000 Ryo? Challenged Sasuke, to which everyone in hearing range widened their eyes in shock at the amount being bet. Done! A woman's voice said from behind them. Everyone turns around to see Tsunade, who has a smirk on her face. Naruto smiles. Oba-san. I didn't know you would be watching, exclaimed Naruto. Tsunade smiles at Naruto and walks up to him. Well, I was bored and Shizen is working at the hospital, so I decided to come watch. By the way, your shift at the hospital is tomorrow, said Tsunade. Naruto sighs. The one thing that he doesn't like about being a medic ninja are the long hospital shifts. Back in the fight, Ino managed to land a hard kick and daze Sakura. Ino weaved through hand seals and uses Doton, Doria Dangan no Jutsu, Earth Release, Mud Bullet Technique. She fired a basketball-sized mud ball at Sakura that hit her in the chest, knocking her out. Ino sent a mental thanks to Naruto for teaching her the jutsu. Winner Ino Yamanaka, announced Hate. Naruto cheered for his teammate and happily took the money from Sasuke, which was snatched out of his hand by Tsunade, and she put it in a safe place between her. Most of the males in the room saw it and started to salivate at the legendary. Naruto sent out a blast of killing intent to get everyone to focus on anything other than his Obasan's boobs. Ino ran back up to her teammates and was congratulated by Asuma and Shikamaru. Naruto smiles and gives her a thumbs up. Great job, Ino, congratulated Naruto. Ino smiled and watched as the screen went through names. Zaka vs. Dosu. The following fight was unimpressive. Both wouldn't shut up and it ended in a tie. Shino Abirame vs. Choji Akimichi. Shino was in control of the fight for the entire match and drained Choji of all of his chakra before the Akimichi surrendered. Kankuro vs. Misumi. Kankuro killed Misumi. Just flat out killed him. The match itself was kind of boring. Gaara vs. Rock Lee. Lee showed everyone in attendance the meaning of going all out. After opening 5 inner gates, he almost managed to pulverize Gaara. But it was all for naught when in the end Lee was beaten. Had it not been for Tsunade and Naruto being in attendance, Lee could have been hospitalized. But after they were done, Lee could continue to watch the fights. Hinata Hyuga vs. Niji Hyuga. Hinata managed to fight with all of the might she could but was defeated in the end. Niji barely spoke, but he had a look of pure hatred on his face. Kin vs. Shikamaru Nara. Shikamaru lead Kin by the nose during the match and knocked the girl out by making her hit her head on the wall. Naruto Senju vs. Kiba Inuzuka. Most of the people knew the outcome before the match even started. Naruto beat Kiba without taking a hit. After Naruto's match, the winners went to the floor. Hate cleared his throat to get everyone's attention. He passed around a box with numbers in it. I want all of you to take a number and call it out. 1 said Naruto, 4 said Sasuke, 5 said Ino, 2 said Niji, 7 said Shikamaru, 3 said Gaara, 6 said Temari, 8 said Kankuro, 9 said Shino. Okay, the order is Naruto Senju vs. Niji Hyuga, Sasuke Uchiha vs. Gaara, Ino Yamanaka vs. Temari, Shikamaru Nara vs. Kankuro. You all will have 1 month to prepare for the finals. Train hard, announced Hate. All of the genin started to leave. Sasuke walked up to Naruto. I'll see you in round 2. Senju, train hard, said Sasuke before leaving. Naruto walks up to Tsunade. Well, Naruchan, what are you going to do for the month? Asked Tsunade, smiling internally at the grown Naruto. Let's out for the nickname. I have a lot to learn still from the scroll and I can never get too good at taijutsu, said Naruto. Tsunade nods and they start to leave the arena to head home. Next day, Hokage's office. Do you think he would want or even need me to train him? Asked Jiraiya. He just spent the last 15 minutes listening to his teammate and sensei tell him what they know about Naruto's current skills. He was impressed to say the least. Tsunade narrows his eyes and thought, I would say that it wouldn't hurt to at least spar with you, to get a different feel for a superior opponent. He is just going to learn all of my weaknesses and our spars won't be as meaningful. Not to mention you are the only one who can link him to his parents, you know the most about them and can teach him their legacy, said Tsunade, to which Hiruzen nods in agreement. Jiraiya smiles a bit. He is excited at the chance to train his godson. His expression becomes grim. That organization I have been telling you two about is starting to move again. Naruto needs to be ready, because when they come for him he will have to fight and they aren't pushovers. I would be hesitant to fight some of these guys, said Jiraiya. The only two Jiraiya is actually worried about that he knows of is Kisame and whoever the leader is. If they can scare away Orochimaru, then that person is not to be messed with. He has confidence that he can fight on even ground with anyone, but he will need to prepare for those two. Tsunade frowns at the mention of the Rouge group. They want to take away her nephew and surrogate son. Like hell they will, she'll die first. Then we need to tell him about the group. As soon as he knows, then he will start training for them. He is more than strong enough with the techniques I know he can do for this exam, not to mention the ones I don't know about that he has hidden up his sleeve. His priority should be for the Akatsuki, said Tsunade. Hiruzen nods. Yes, Naruto-kun is almost guaranteed a Chunin spot as he is. So I think you should at least test him to see how strong he currently is. Jiraiya, maybe he'll ask you to train him, said the third. Jiraiya nods and leaves the office to test his godson. Senju compound, with Naruto. Naruto's trying out a sensory exercise. With the Mokuton Kekkei Genkai, he is a natural sensor pretty much attuned to nature, so right now he is expanding his range and making it more accurate. So far he has had little progress. Naruto perks up when he senses someone watching him in the tree line to his right. Naruto suppresses a smirk. The forest is his domain, and someone is trying to use it to spy on him, moron. Naruto forms the snake seal and the trees surrounding the figure start to attack him relentlessly. The spy jumps into the middle of the field to reveal that it was Jiraiya. Hey, you're Jiraiya. Why were you spying on me? Asked Naruto. He recognized this guy from his Obasan's pictures. Jiraiya smirks at Naruto recognizing him. Of course you have heard of the great and powerful Jiraiya. Tamer of toads and master of Chunin, the one and only toad sage. Exclaimed Jiraiya. Naruto gives a polite clap. The guy knows how to make an entrance, strange but good nonetheless. So what do you want? Asked Naruto. Jiraiya smirks. I'm going to test you starting now, said Jiraiya before springing forward. Naruto is barely able to duck under the swing and sends a punch to Jiraiya's leg. Jiraiya takes the hit, then kicks the blonde away. Naruto uses the distance to send out a jutsu, Mokuton, Hotei no Jutsu, wood release, laughing Buddha jutsu, enormous wood hands much larger than the ones used against Asuma during the Genin test attack Jiraiya. Jiraiya dodges too and hardens his hair and uses it as a shield from the last few hands. Naruto waits for Jiraiya to make his move and isn't let down when thousands of Saban fly at him. He is forced to make a wood wall to block them all. Jiraiya charges the wall and destroys it with the Rasengan. After blasting through the wall, he is met with a blue sandal to the face. After Naruto kicked the Toad Sage back, he goes through more signs for a new jutsu and his very own creation, Mokuton, Meruei Shuk no Renda, would release, Barrage of the Enlightened Monk. This jutsu takes from the Laughing Buddha jutsu but decreases the size of the fist for increased speed and numbers. Jiraiya is forced to block dodge and take a few wooden fists. He has to admit that this is a dangerous jutsu. If he were to take a direct hit, it could shatter bone, let alone if all of them hit. However, Jiraiya isn't a Sannin for nothing. He uses the Katon, Ryuka no Jutsu, Fire Release, Dragon Fire technique, to burn away the jutsu and charge and knock out Naruto. Jiraiya is definitely impressed with Naruto. He may not have seen everything he is capable of, but he is quite the shinobi. 30 minutes later, Naruto groggily wakes up to see the Toad Sage eating food while writing something down. You're really fast, commented Naruto. Jiraiya smirks. Minato said the same thing when they first sparred before he trained like crazy and became way faster than him. You should have seen my other student kid, replied Jiraiya. So what do you want now? Asked Naruto. Not that he didn't like the Toad Sage, but he has important training to do. Jiraiya thinks over how to say it but just decides to say it. I want to train you, not only for the finals but to train you as my apprentice, said Jiraiya. Naruto's eyes widen. He didn't expect that at all. Why? Asked Naruto, not knowing what else to say to that. Look kid, you're very talented, but you're a target for a very powerful group of S-rank criminals who are going to start hunting you for the Biju sealed within you. I want to make sure you are strong enough to survive when that happens, Jiraiya said, hoping that he didn't scare the kid too bad. Naruto's eyes widen. Wow, you're S-rank, right? So I need to be as strong if not even stronger than you, huh? Okay Jiraiya-sensei, I accept, but I want to learn that orb jutsu, it has a lot of potential, said Naruto. Jiraiya smirks at the last part. He has every intention on teaching the kid his birthright. Okay kid. Jiraiya's hell training begins now. Senju Compound, Training Ground. Over the last week Naruto has been on the receiving end of training that has made him regret even entering the Chunin exams in the first place. Many like to think that Minato Namake's genius made it possible for him to achieve the feats he did at the age he was, but Naruto knows the truth. Jiraiya is a slave-driving perfectionist of a sensei. The Toad Sage will refuse to move on to a new subject or jutsu until the current subject or jutsu is mastered to Jiraiya's liking. Although the training is grueling, Naruto can say that he has improved incredibly in the week. So far the only thing Jiraiya has instructed Naruto in is physical drills and exercises involving enhancing his agility and dexterity. Even though the Toad Sage is a hulking figure of physical power, he isn't lacking in the speed and finesse department. Hell, he could give even the best of A and B a run for their money, and they are the epitome of speed and finesse. Naruto let out of breath having finished his newest drill, wearing heavy weights and having to speed through the forest while being attacked by Jiraiya. Naruto has to reach the end of the course in under a minute without being hit more than 3 times. After 4 straight hours of training, he just got under a minute and being hit only 3 times, passing although barely. Okay, I think we can stop focusing heavily on speed for now. We are going to start focusing on your taijutsu. From my understanding, your style is a mixture of the Shodame Hokage's forest style and the Nidame Hokage's running water style, said Jiraiya, and nods when Naruto signals an affirmative. With your increased speed, we can start adding different attacks and grapples. I'm aware that you like staying at a range with your ninjutsu, but even the strongest of shinobi run out of chakra and need to have a strong foundation in taijutsu. So with that in mind, the next chunk of training will be taijutsu while still doing speed exercises, finished Jiraiya. Naruto stays quiet for a moment and frowns for a moment. Are we going to be training in anything other than taijutsu? I was hoping to learn the Rasengan, I think it was called, asked Naruto with hesitance. Jiraiya wasn't one to let the student dictate the training he knows best and has the data to prove, Minato Namikaze being Exhibit A. Jiraiya snorted at the question. Kid, as good as you are, it will take you too long to learn that jutsu in the time we have. For the month, I have one jutsu I want to teach you if we have time, but I want to increase your taijutsu and physical abilities in general. In the spars we've had so far, I can tell that your reflexes are incredible fast, bordering on the absurd, but you don't have the speed to take advantage of it, so that's what I want to help you with most. The Toad Sage suspects that Naruto has been training on his own, but he won't say anything as long as it doesn't interfere with this training. Naruto nods, satisfied with the answer, and gets back up to continue his training. Mountains outside of Konoha. Sasuke fell to his knees in exhaustion. Kakashi's training has been the definition of grueling. Kakashi said that even though Sasuke's reserves are large for his age, they aren't big enough to fight a prolonged fight with opponents on the level he will fight in the exams. Examples being Naruto and Gaara, both have incredible chakra reserves and stamina. So Kakashi made it the focus of this training so far to increase his reserves and chakra control. Sasuke can definitely feel the difference. With larger reserves, he can utilize the Chidori 2 more times, and with his increased control, his jutsu are less taxing, making his reserves last even longer. Kakashi told him that he went through the same training regime when he was a Chunin, but, much to Sasuke's envy, was when Kakashi was 6 years old. Sasuke doesn't understand how anyone could be a shinobi at that age, let alone a Chunin. Different times, he supposes. Kakashi eyed his student for a moment. Very good, you're improving at an impressive rate. But for the next 2 weeks we will focus on your Sharingan and Genjutsu. From what I understand, you are starting to study the illusionary art. Although I'm not as good as someone, I can give you the basics to excel in the art. Sasuke nods, unable to speak since he's still trying to catch his breath. Even though he has been improving his reserves, Sasuke feels that he should be focusing on either taijutsu or furthering his ninjutsu arsenal. But when he thinks about it further, with his increased chakra control he can enhance himself with chakra, and with his increased reserves he can do it for even longer, so he can say that he's indirectly enhancing his taijutsu with this regime. When we get to the last week, we'll go over your entire arsenal and see what can be improved or added to better your chances. It may sound hypocritical coming from me, but I think have complete master of 2 jutsu can be better than having understanding of a dozen, informed Kakashi with his usual lazy voice, his masked face still shoved between the pages of his erotic novel. Hokage's office. Hiruzen set aside another scroll and let out a sigh. He's so fed up with the monotony of paper. His assistant stuck her head into his office to tell him the Tsunade is here for her appointment. Hiruzen watches as his student walks in and takes a seat in front of him. What is it you needed, sensei? Asked Tsunade. She didn't necessarily want to be here, it just reeks of headaches and boredom. She would never want to be stuck in the position of a Hokage. As respected as they are glorified office workers with a lot of political power. Yeah, no thank you. I wanted to talk to you about the possibility of succeeding me, started Hiruzen, not wasting time to ease into the subject. Tsunade wasn't the most patient of people and didn't appreciate it when people would beat around the bush when talking to her. Tsunade was too shocked by the statement to say anything, and Hiruzen continued, I am far too old to be a Kage anymore. You are the only one who is capable and trustworthy enough to take the position of Kage. Danzo is too Danzo-like, and Jiraiya is far too important in the field to have to stay behind a desk for that long, informed Hiruzen. Tsunade sighed. To be honest, she knew this was coming. For the past few weeks she has been included in the village matters more and more. At first it was puzzling until she chalked it up to being one of Sarutobi-sensei's most trusted people, but in the past few meetings it became more and more obvious that he was going to ask for her to take over. Not to mention, out of the remaining Sannin, she has the most political training and expertise, which makes her the most viable candidate. With everything on the horizon, from the Chunin exams with Orochimaru's scheming and the Akatsuki who are coming for her Naruto, Sarutobi-sensei must feel that he isn't in top enough form to deal with them like he could 5 or 10 years ago. If I were to say yes, when would I take over as Hokage? Asked Tsunade. Hiruzen didn't actually know when the best time to make the transition would be. After the Chunin exams for sure, but maybe he should wait another year to inform everyone of the transition like he did for Minato, and help him out in the first few weeks. Although Tsunade has enough experience as a political figure, so she won't need as much help. I think we can start the transition after the Chunin exam finals, he said. Actually, your first act as Hokage could be to promote the genin who pass. Tsunade nods in thought. She didn't particularly like the position of Hokage thanks to the people who she loved being killed in the process of trying to reach the hat. No doubt if she were to be asked before she came back to the village she would outright refuse and beat the hell out of whoever asked, but after spending years in the village with Naruto and Shizen and slowly healing, she is having a tough time trying to find a real reason to refuse the position. Not to mention she could better protect Naruto from the Akatsuki as the Hokage when the time comes, and he and Shizen can pick up the slack at the hospital since she will have to spend most of her time at the office. With no real argument in mind, she only has one answer: I'll do it, answered Tsunade. Hiruzen smiled at his student. Ever since she came back to the village she has healed back to the wonderful student she was before her losses in the war. Excellent. Since you know enough about how the village works, we don't really have to train you for the position. I will announce you as my successor after the Chunin exams, said Hiruzen, who looked like a huge weight just left his shoulders. Tsunade says her goodbye and leaves to head back to the hospital. She has to start delegating her duties to other head doctors, with Shizen doing a lot of her tasks. Overall, the transition shouldn't be too much of a hassle. 2 weeks later, Senju compound, training ground. Naruto quickly uses the Suiton, Suijin Hiki, water release, water wall, to counter Jiraiya's fire jutsu, and Senzo would clone forward to engage Jiraiya in taijutsu while he travels underground to get a distance to engage his sensei from a safe location. While the clone engages with taijutsu, the real Naruto emerges on the tree line and flashes through seals and uses Mokuton, Dedekura Shingeki, would release, emerging Titan. This new jutsu was a combination of new innovation on Naruto's part, and taking from different jutsu from Hashirama's scroll. The jutsu isn't as large or powerful as the legendary wood golem that Hashirama could use to fight Madara Uchiha's complete Susanoo to a standstill, but is still strong enough to push Jiraiya to start taking a fight more seriously. The jutsu creates a large wooden warrior that bursts through the earth to deal a devastatingly powerful punch or punches depending on how long Naruto can focus on the jutsu. Naruto suspects that the jutsu hasn't even reached its full potential, even though he more or less made it, and feels that it is completed. Only time will tell. Jiraiya acknowledged the powerful jutsu and increased his speed to avoid the Titan. The jutsu is about 3 meters tall, and has a long reach, and when it hits the ground it has the force of a punch from Tsunade. Jiraiya hasn't and really doesn't want to be on the receiving end of one of those attacks. The Toad Sage watches as the Titan roars and sends out a punch, to which Jiraiya jumps at the last minute and runs forward to engage the real Naruto, who is still focusing on the jutsu. After getting to Naruto, Jiraiya engages in taijutsu to see how far his student has come in these past weeks. Jiraiya sends a kick at Naruto, who dodges and speeds in to deliver an uppercut to the Toad Sage, who learns back out of the way. Naruto, knowing that was coming, does a spin kick as Jiraiya is leaning back, hitting the sage in the ribs. Naruto, not wasting time, uses the snake seal to ensnare Jiraiya, who casually dodges and bats away the branches with ease. Naruto weaves through seals and puts his hands on the ground and sends out the Doton, Doria Taiga, Earth Release, Earth Flow River, towards the sage, who uses his superior control over the Doton element to harden the jutsu before it can reach him. Jiraiya uses the boar and dog seals, then the round sucks Naruto in and hardens, leaving only Naruto's head above ground. Your speed has increased greatly, and your taijutsu is coming along very well. For the last week you are going to be working your wood release, specifically a jutsu that sensei wants you to learn. Tora should be here in a bit, until then take a rest. I'll see you in the finals, kid, called Jiraiya as he walked off. Naruto watched his sensei walk off before sitting on the ground and letting out a sigh. The training that the Toad Sage has been putting him through was, apparently, the same regimen that he put Minato Namikaze through when he was a genin under the Sannin. Naruto gains more respect for the Yondaime. He managed to get through tests as a fresh genin that Naruto is having trouble with after months of training. Naruto guesses that the Yondaime's reputation isn't all hype. Naruto feels a familiar presence but is too busy resting to move to look at it. Tired? Asked a slightly amused voice from behind him. Naruto manages to turn around to see a bandaged Tora-masked Anbu that used to train him in his Kekkei Genkai when he was younger. Now that Naruto thinks about it, the last time that he saw the Anbu, it was right before the second exam when he warned them about a genin with enormous reserves. What happened after my warning during the second test, Tora-sensei? Asked Naruto. Tora shifted uncomfortably at the question. It definitely wasn't his squad's brightest moment. The girl tore them apart and moved on to her objective, and succeeded if the curse mark on the last Uchiha's neck is any indication. However, as much as Tora likes Naruto, he's still a genin, and Orochimaru's activity in the second exam is classified. Nothing really came up of it, don't worry about it, waved off Tora. Now we have about a week to teach you this jutsu, let's get started. Naruto let out a sigh. Looks like he won't be getting a break today. Mountains outside Konoha. Sasuke ducked under a kick and swings his sword upwards toward his sensei's neck, who jumps back to avoid the blade. Sasuke gets back to his feet and locks eyes with his sensei. Despite having 2 fully matured Sharingan, Sasuke is having trouble keeping his sensei in the illusion. Deciding to break the illusion, Sasuke weaves through more seals for a jutsu. Katon, Gokaku no Jutsu, Fire Release, Grand Fireball Technique. The meteor of fire flew towards Kakashi at an unprecedented speed, almost causing the copy ninja to falter. But he brushed aside the slight panic and retreated underground, and he came up to grab his student's ankles like he did in their first test, only for Sasuke to jump away and use more seals and attempt to harden the earth, trapping Kakashi. It was a wasted effort as Kakashi's control over the earth element was far superior. Kakashi broke through the ground and charges at his student with 2 kunai at the ready. Sasuke charges forward with his sword in a reverse grip. He blocked the first kunai and dodges the second before kicking Kakashi in the chest and flashing several seals for a new jutsu he's been working on. Kakashi watches with his Sharingan as Sasuke's whole body glows with chakra before a similar sound starts to emanate from him. Kakashi is still to close and is hit by several bolts from the jutsu and holds up his hand to stop the spar. Sasuke lets out a breath and clutches his side in pain. His Chidori Nagashi, Chidori stream, is still in its early stages and hurt him a little while he was using it. Kakashi looks at his student with pride in his eyes. From what he understands about the jutsu is that it's the Chidori channeled throughout his entire body as a widespread attack. It's genius. Very interesting jutsu. Kakashi eyes Sasuke's bleeding side. I would recommend more chakra control and lightning manipulation training before you use it in the field. Judging by the effects of the jutsu, it will leave you vulnerable afterwards. Sasuke nods and takes a seat on a rock to rest. What next? Kakashi sits down next to the Uchiha with a grunt before his palm glows green and he starts to heal his chest where a few bolts hit him. With more control, that could be an incredible jutsu. And like I said the last week, we are going to go over your arsenal completely and see what we can improve or add, as well as spar every day. Sasuke nods his head and eats a soldier pill to get ready for more training, making Kakashi sigh. Day of the finals, Konoha Arena. Hiruzen watches from the Kage booth as the civilians and ninja from his village all file into their seats to watch the up-and-coming shinobi fight it out for their promotion to Chunin. It fills him with pride that his village can still enjoy such things so soon after the last war and Kyuubi attack, and that the will of fire is still so strong after everything this village has gone through. Turning his eyes to the arena floor, he looks to the blonde Senju. Hiruzen smiles at the young boy. He's come a long way from the lonely 6-year-old boy he once knew. Talking with the Senju is the last loyal Uchiha. Hiruzen sends an apology to the boy. He hopes that the sound Uchiha can overcome his demons and live happily. But Hiruzen isn't foolish enough to think that will happen. With all of the contestants in the arena, he sends a thank you to the squads of ANBU that brought Kakashi and Sasuke to the village on time. The third sends the signal to Genma, who is on the arena floor, to start the tournament. On the arena floor, Genma clears his throat. Welcome to the Chunin exam finals. First up we have Naruto Senju vs Niji Hyuga, announced Genma. Okay, everyone else go up to the viewing area, said Genma to the remaining genin. Sasuke walks up to Naruto and eyes him for a moment. Finish it quick. This fool doesn't deserve to be the main show. That honor is ours, said Sasuke before he left to the viewing area. Naruto smirked at his friend's excitement for their fight. I shouldn't, but I want to give you the opportunity to give up. Fate has decreed that I beat both you and the Uchiha, sneered Niji. Naruto holds in a snort. This stick in the mud really thinks highly of himself. Or we can fight, replied Naruto. So be it, returned Niji. The Hyuga genius activated his Byakugan and took his stance. Naruto took in the Hyuga's stance and watched for a moment, contemplating his attack method. He knows he'll have to attack first, which isn't something he's against anyway. Naruto takes a breath and flickers towards the stationary Hyuga, going for a high kick. Niji, caught off guard by the speed of the attack, ducks under the attack and tries to strike Naruto's chest. Niji's attack was redirected, and the Hyuga jumps back to get some space. Naruto sees that Niji is on the retreat and weaves seals for the Suiton. Sudanya, water release, water severing wave. The stream of water speeds towards Niji, and the Hyuga only has one option to avoid being run through by the beam of water. Niji starts to spin until his chakra makes it look like he is inside of a dome of pure chakra. Hayashi in the stands looks shocked that a member of the branch family could teach themselves the jutsu. The water from the jutsu just bounces off the dome. Impressive, thought Naruto. He didn't think that Niji knew something like that, which makes his ninjutsu useless since he can negate his attacks. Naruto throws a shuriken and uses Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique, to create a wave of shuriken, making Niji repeat his defensive technique. While Niji was spinning, Naruto sent a clone underground and waited for Niji to finish. Niji finished spinning and had a cruel smirk on his face. Understand now? You can't beat me. Fate has already decreed me the victor. Naruto didn't bother saying anything and started building chakra inside of his body to look like he was preparing a jutsu. Niji focused on the blonde, but he didn't notice the pair of hands come up from the ground under him to grab his ankles and pull him underground up to his neck. Over-reliance. All Kekkei Genkai wielding shinobi, especially Jujutsu wielding shinobi, are over-reliant towards their bloodline. You are no different, either am I, though I'm working on it. All I had to do was make you focus on me and attack from an area you least expect it. Hopefully you can overcome your shortcomings with that fate stuff, because I wouldn't mind sparring with you more, said Naruto before walking off the field. Genma announced that he was the winner, and the crowd went wild. Naruto can make out a few voices that makes him smile, notably his Oba-san and Nei-chan. Kage Booth. Hiruzen smiled at his favorite blonde and mentally nodded at the advice regarding Kekkei Genkais. Most shinobi with them always rely too heavily on them, something he's taken advantage of in the years he's been a shinobi. What an interesting boy. Shame he didn't use his Kekei Genkai. That is one of the main reasons I'm here, to see the legendary wood style in action. Commented the Kazekage. Well, the tournament isn't over yet, replied Hiruzen. How wrong you are, sensei, thought Orochimaru evilly. Audience, Tsunade isn't one for restraint, so she's cheering as loudly as she can for her favorite genin. Shizen is right next to her, clapping away. He sure has come far from the little boy who was so excited to be a ninja. How's Tsunade-sama? Commented Shizen with a smile. Tsunade smiled. She remembers training a little ball of energy every chance she could just to spend time with the little knucklehead, and seeing him steal the show in his Chunin finals fills he with pride. Not to mention all of the work he has been putting into the hospital on top of everything, she couldn't be any prouder of her little Naruchan. He sure has. The rest of the rookies in the audience clap and cheer for their teammate beating out last year's top rookie. Tenten looks at the field with shock. I can't believe it, Niji lost. I knew that the blonde was good and all, but Niji is a genius. Amazing, thought Tenten with shock. Lee cheers for Naruto while feeling bad for his teammate and rival. Even though he wanted to be the one to do it, Lee is glad that someone might have humbled Niji. Naruto-kun, I can't wait to train hard and challenge you to a youthful spar soon, Lee thought with youthful fires in his eyes. Contestant booth. Sasuke silently smirks at Naruto. The Hyuga turned out to be all talk, couldn't even push Naruto to use his Mokuton. But it's not too surprising, Naruto and I are in another league, these fools are nothing, thought Sasuke before jumping down to the arena after hearing the proctor call his name. Shino, Ino and Shikamaru clap for their classmates/teammates' victory, while the Sand Trio look on unimpressed at the display. Arena floor. Are the contestants ready? Asked Genma. Seeing both give minuscule nods, he starts the match. Sasuke wastes no time and activates his Sharingan. He isn't foolish enough not to have that ready. He remembers what the Sand Genin did to Rock Lee. Sasuke unsheathes his sword and charges, and not using any chakra flow to enhance it yet. Gaara looks on unimpressed. To him, the Uchiha isn't worth fighting. Sasuke runs forward at an impressive speed before blurring away and goes for a stab in the side that is blocked by the sand. Sasuke hissed and backed away. His sand is faster than I thought, and I'm nowhere near the speed Lee was using after opening the gates. Ninjutsu it is, thought Sasuke before flying through hand seals. Katon, Gekido Nami Guzen Furu, fire release, roaring wave of majestic fury. His already powerful jutsu is even wider and stronger than it was in the forest thanks to the chakra training that Sasuke went through during the month. The enormous wave of flames completely engulfs Gaara and spreads 8 meters wide and 5 meters high. Everything touched by the fire is turned to ash, including the trees in the arena behind Gaara. Audience, Tsunade raises her eyebrows in surprise. She's never seen that jutsu and is impressed that Sasuke has such control over it. But she looks at the fire worriedly. Gaara might lose control if he is too injured, and who knows what will happen with their relationship to Suna if they kill their only Jinchuriki. Then the blonde frowns. It would be their fault for sending an unstable Jinchuriki in the first place. The rookies look at the enormous jutsu in awe. Such power. They all thought together, while watching the A-rank fire jutsu burn the arena to ash. Kage booth. Hiruzen looks at the arena with worry. The amount of money to fix the walls and ground will surely cause a headache and a half. No, he can just make Naruto do it. Now with his spirits raised, Hiruzen looks at his wind counterpart. An interesting match so far, Hokage Dano. Your genin sure possesses some powerful jutsu, commented the Kazekage. Hiruzen nodded with a small smile on his face. Contestant booth. Show-off, thought Naruto watching his friend. The rest in the viewing booth either looked worried in the case of the Suna ninja or bored in Shikamaru and Shino's cases. Ino has a shocked look at the power her former crush has, before looking at Naruto with surprise. And Naruto is the stronger of the two. Arena floor. I doubt he's dead, but hopefully this is over, thought Sasuke before ending the jutsu. The fire dissipates and the ground and trees are ash, and in the middle is a dome of sand that the front is completely glass. Seriously, you are the most boring person to fight, you know that, commented Sasuke. It pissed him off that Gaara didn't even go in the offense. Sasuke charges in again with his sword before channeling pure Chidori through the blade. As Sasuke approaches the dome of sand, it starts to shake and break apart. Glass starts flying at him, and Sasuke uses his eyes to follow the glass and either dodge or slice apart with his sword. As he nears Gaara, sand starts to fly at him in waves. Sasuke using his agility to duck and dodge the sand before he is within range and sends the sword forward. Gaara uses sand to block the strike, but it's for naught as the blade pierces the sand with ease and stabs Gaara in the chest. Sasuke smirks at drawing first blood. With the Sharingan he can see red chakra start to build up in Gaara's chest. Interesting. Contestant booth. Naruto watches the fight with a straight face. Sasuke is the strong of the two but is having trouble finding a way to deal damage. Naruto smirks at the lightning-covered sword and watches as Sasuke runs Gaara through with his sword before Naruto's eyes widen in shock. Flashback during the training month. Jiraiya watches as Naruto fights one of his clones in taijutsu with his new speed. Naruto! Come over here, called out Jiraiya. Naruto runs over. What's up? I should tell you about what is coming in the finals. We suspect that we are going to be under attack, but we don't know when, but it will revolve around Gaara. Sensei thinks it will be after the tournament, when people least expect it. I just want you ready to take him down if, and when the time comes. Ordered Jiraiya, to which Naruto nodded with a serious face. End flashback. Gaara's the signal. They're waiting for him to loose it and attack when everyone is distracted. Thought Naruto with urgency before flickering towards his Obasan in the audience. Naruto searches the rows until he sees Tsunade and runs up to her. Obasan! I figured it out, they aren't waiting for a signal, Gaara is the signal. Naruto told her as quietly as he could while still conveying the urgency. Tsunade's eyes widen before all of them start to feel sleepy and feathers start to fall in their vision. All three medic ninja break the genjutsu before moving out of the way of a wind jutsu that was about to slice them in half. What is the meaning of this? Suna are our allies, roared Tsunade. She sees Sand and Sound Shinobi attack the stadium together, and watches as Chunin and Jonin fight away the attackers. Everyone feels the killing intent coming from the stadium and watches as an